Chapter 132. It was to prevent the 13 elders from backstabbing him. In the past 100,000 years, he had also understood the character of these people. The two girls brought 2 sets of clothes and brought them back to the cabin for Long Lin and Lu Wuhan. Lin Yu stood alone at the bow of the ship. He didn't use those hidden teleportation arrays in the starry sky, but deliberately used the ordinary method to go to the Yao clan. At this moment, a figure had appeared in the sky above his warship. "You're here. You knew I would come? You know me, and I know you." Lin Yu smiled. The figure landed on the deck, but there was no aura. Even Long Lin and the others in the cabin didn't notice his appearance at all. "You're stronger than I thought." Lin Yu looked at the other party. It was a young man in a black robe, but he had a head of white hair. Under the black robe, the pupils in his eyes were vertical slits that didn't look human. "I want to become stronger to replace you." His voice was very hoarse, but if others heard it, they would definitely be shocked, because his voice was exactly the same as Lin Yu's. "You can't do it yet." Lin Yu took a step and appeared in front of the white-haired young man. Under the black robe, the face that was originally covered also appeared in front of Lin Yu because of the close distance. Even his appearance was exactly the same as Lin Yu's. "Can't do it?" The white-haired young man chuckled softly. Even his expression was exactly the same. The moment he chuckled, a bone-piercing cold air came towards Lin Yu. The entire huge warship was instantly enveloped in a layer of indestructible ice. Even Long Lin and the other 3 in the cabin were directly frozen the moment they sensed the danger. Only Lin Yu looked normal. The young man in white frowned. "Why?" With the cold air of the unyielding realm, he actually couldn't freeze Lin Yu, a 4-ignition wheelcaster. Lin Yu didn't answer. "What's your name?" "Lin Xiao," the young man in white said. Lin Yu turned around, his back facing him. "If you're a bit stronger, you might be able to replace me." Lin Xiao was silent for a long time. "We'll meet again soon." Finally, he left. Everything on the warship, the ice, and Lin Xiao disappeared into the starry sky. It was as if nothing had happened. However, Long Lin and the other 3 appeared. "Young master, where is he?" Lu Wuhan immediately asked. That terrifying sense of crisis just now still left them with lingering fear. But now, they were unable to feel anything. "Let's go." As soon as Lin Yu finished speaking, he felt a sweet taste in his throat and spat out a mouthful of blood. "Young master." The 2 girls immediately supported him. "Damn it, who is it?" Lu Wuhan and the others were furious. Yi Mingyue took out a handkerchief and helped Lin Yu wipe off the blood at the corner of his mouth. Lin Yu's eyes were filled with excitement. A very interesting and powerful opponent. He had to admit that Lin Xiao was very strong. From the moment Lin Yu searched Demon Lord Luo Ho's soul and used the time travel secret technique to enter the place where the heaven-reflecting mirror was, he had already sensed Lin Xiao's existence. That was something created by the heaven-reflecting mirror with his wisdom and the bloodline of the Demon Emperor. Lin Yu felt a sense of familiarity with Lin Xiao, as if he was his own shadow. But there was also a sense of repulsion. It was a sense of repulsion between natural enemies where it was either you die or I die. "Young master." Lu Wuhan and the other 3 were scared silly by Lin Yu's appearance. It was their first time seeing Lin Yu like this. This made them even more certain that the person who appeared just now was definitely not someone they could deal with. In fact, Lin Yu didn't even have such a look in his eyes when facing 7 Yi Demon Emperor. Could it be that that person is even stronger than 7 Yi Demon Emperor? It's only a matter of time. Lin Yu sat cross-legged, and an aura of a breakthrough appeared around him. The 4 of them instantly understood. But it was also at this moment that a tyrannical, repulsive force erupted from a few dozen feet around Lin Yu. This repulsive force directly pushed the 4 of them in 4 directions. So strong, young master actually broke through after facing a powerful enemy. Could it be that young master's physique can become stronger the stronger he is? Lu Wuhan guessed. However, Long Lin's brows were tightly knitted. "Old Long, what's wrong with you? Were you scared silly just now?" Long Lin shook his head and looked at the starry sky solemnly. We have to grow up quickly too. Lu Wuhan understood and rarely argued with Long Lin. In this universe, the strong were respected. Even if they stayed by Lin Yu's side, once their strength couldn't keep up, they would only drag Lin Yu down in the end. For a moment, the four of them thought of the same thing. The atmosphere was solemn. The light of the breakthrough reached its peak, and Lin Yu's aura broke through without any obstruction. Cultivation, 5 ignition wheel. The cyclone around Lin Yu was still there. The glory aura, accumulated from the previous few cups of silver fish immortal dew, was completely stimulated because of resisting Lin Xiu just now. There was a loud rumble. Lin Yu's breakthrough light reappeared. 2 consecutive levels. Long Lin and Lu Wuhan looked at each other. They were shocked. Lin Yu's breakthrough speed was too fast. Only Lin Yu knew that this was the result of his accumulation. Every battle, every absorption of power, he was accumulating his current strength. Boom! The light of the breakthrough finally dissipated. The powerful glory aura vortex slowly converged in Lin Yu's dantian. The 4 people only felt that although Lin Yu's cultivation was only at the samsara realm, but the total amount of glory aura seemed to be stronger than theirs. 6 ignition wheel cultivation. In Lin Yu's storage ring, the purple cauldron slowly rose into the air. After refining the 100,000 years of divine sense for so long, it was finally time to break through. This is the divine sense realm. Young Master's divine sense is also so strong. Xia Bing looked at the divine sense phantom behind Lin Yu in shock. It was using the purple cauldron as a container and was slowly rotating. That's a treasure. Yi Mingwei gasped. The purple cauldron gave her a feeling that surpassed any treasure she had seen before. Divine sense cultivation. Xia Bing frowned and suddenly remembered that Lin Yu could easily take her father's slap. The difference in cultivation led to a very small difference in physique. If they had the same physique, Lin Yu's cultivation would definitely not be able to take it. No, unless young Master's physique is also at the samsara realm. While Xia Bing was shocked, Yi Mingyue and the other 2 were also shocked. At this moment, 3 auras appeared around Lin Yu and turned into Lin Yu's appearance at the same time. Floating in the air, divine sense essence chi, physique blood chi, cultivation glory aura, the realm of 3 elements as one. Isn't this just a legendary realm? Long Lin and Lu Wuhan were in disbelief. They had only seen the realm of 3 elements as one in ancient books. However, it was extremely difficult to put it into practice. A person's talent is limited, and 3 different types of power are very likely to repel each other. Therefore, even if you can cultivate 2 elements at once, you'll be a genius. Lu Wuhan was the oldest among them and couldn't help but analyze. Chapter 133. Although this scoundrel is occasionally mischievous, his cultivation talent is truly terrifying. Yi Mingyue's voice fell. At the same time, Lin Yu's divine telekinesis had a breakthrough as well. 6 ignited cultivation base, 5 ignited battle physique, divine telekinesis. Lin Yu slowly opened his eyes. The 3 auras were absorbed into his body at the same time. He stretched his back. Why did you guys run so far away? The 4 of them twitched at the same time. They thought to themselves, it's your 3 essences in one that pushed them away. A few hours later, Lin Yu and the others arrived in the sky above the Yao clan. Below the warship was a mountain range formed by 17 mountains. This mountain range was different from the Sword Clan's sharp metallic feel. Instead, ancient palaces stood in different locations on each of the Emerald Mountain ranges. Green smoke drifted out of the palaces from time to time. The moment they entered the sky above the Yao clan, Lin Yu and the others smelled the pill fragrance coming from the green smoke. The guards at the Yao clan's front gate immediately noticed the people on the warship. Report to the young clan leader that Xia Bing and Lin Yu are here. Yes, sir. Xia Jie paced back and forth in the Yao clan's main hall. Yesterday, he had been tricked by Lin Yu in front of the Sword Venerable. He had exposed the fact that he and Jian Xiyun had killed Jian Lingtian back then. If that old man the sword venerable, comes to the Yao clan to settle the score with me. Damn it, I can't drag this out any longer. He looked behind him. How's your grandfather? It was Xia Kuangshan. The injuries from Xia Bing's attack had already healed. However, because of this, Xia Kuangshan's status in the Yao clan had dropped. He held a grudge against Xia Bing now. Grandfather can't hold on much longer. Xia Kuangshan reminded Xia Jie. Father, we have to make preparations. What preparations? The people from the branch. Xia Jie sneered. That trash Xia Zhan? Once your grandfather dies, the Yao clan will be mine. What can Xia Zhan do to me? Xia Kuangshan frowned. But if I don't get rid of Xia Bing, I can't take this lying down. You can only blame yourself for being useless. Xia Jie snorted coldly. You can't even beat Xia Bing? You're really making me proud. Xia Kuangshan looked aggrieved. That's all Lin Yu's trick. I don't believe that Xia Bing, that stinky girl, can use the Xiantian pure fire skill so exquisitely. Enough. Xia Jie interrupted him. I've raised you for so many years in vain. The pure fire Xiantian technique is one of the two unique techniques of our Yao clan. No matter how powerful Lin Yu is, there's no way he would know about this. How could he teach Xia Bing? You idiot. If Xia Bing comes back, you'd better be able to take him down with a justifiable reason. Otherwise, you won't be able to raise your head in the Yao clan in the future. Xia Kuangshan clenched his teeth as his killing intent towards Xia Bing's sword. Although Xia Jie didn't believe him, Xia Kuangshan was certain that it was Lin Yu who said a few words to Xia Bing. That was why when he fought with Xia Bing, his cultivation method was limited in every way. There must be something wrong with that Lin Yu. Xia Kuangshan was confident that he could defeat Xia Bing the next time they met. However, he was extremely wary of Lin Yu. Why aren't you getting lost and cultivating? Xia Jie scolded. By the way, Xiao Hanyu and the others are dead. Deal with the Biling sect for me. If the rest of them reveal what happened in the past, I'll kill you. Yes, father. Xia Kuangshan swallowed his saliva. Xia Bing and that Lin Yu. He's the one who ruined my plan in the Sword Tribe. If I see him, I'll make you suffer so much that you'll wish you were dead. Xia Jie's eyes were vicious as he gritted his teeth. Just as Xia Kuangshan was about to leave, he saw the guards hurriedly running over. Young patriarch, why are you panicking? Young Mistress Xia and Lin Yu are at the door. There's no door to hell. Good. Xia Jie took a step forward, and Xia Kuangshan followed closely behind. In another hall of the Yao clan, Xia Zhan's spies also received the news. Young mistress, did you bring the Sacred Heart Cauldron with you? Xia Zhan immediately asked the guard who came to report. After all, the Sacred Heart Cauldron was his biggest bargaining chip. With the Sacred Heart Cauldron, he would have the greatest merit in the Yao clan. I'm not sure, but Lin Yu is here too. After the battle at the Wind Moon Gathering, Lin Yu's name had spread throughout the 8 clans. Therefore, the guard recognized him immediately. Lin Yu, that troublesome kid. Xia Zhan left the hall without hesitation. However, when he arrived at the Yao clan's mountain gate, he saw that Xia Jie and his son were already there. Big brother, haha, Kuangshan is here too? Xia Jie sneered. Second brother, your daughter is really capable. She took the Sacred Heart Cauldron with Lin Yu, and now she dares to swagger back? He looked up and saw a huge warship descending from the sky. Big brother, you're exaggerating. Xia Bing is still a member of the Yao clan. She must be worried about her father's illness. She must have brought the Sacred Heart Cauldron back this time. That better be the case. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. Xia Zhan nodded. He was cursing in his heart. However, he was still afraid. He knew that if Xia Bing did not bring back the Sacred Heart Cauldron this time, she would most likely die. At this moment, Xia Jie stepped into the air. Did the traitor of the Yao clan bring back the Sacred Heart Cauldron? On the warship, Xia Bing's pretty face darkened. She still remembered clearly how Xia Jie and Jian Qian admitted that they had wronged the sword fanatic's father. There were too many dirty things about this uncle that she did not know. Lin Yu smiled as he stepped into the air and landed on the warship. Long Lin and the other 3 followed closely behind. Lin Yu, you still have the guts to come to the Yao clan. Of course, Xia Kuangshan did not dare to fight Lin Yu alone. However, this was his territory. He was not afraid of Lin Yu at all. Why? Are you unhappy with me? Lin Yu smiled faintly. Then let's fight one-on-one. He knew these people's morals. Xia Kuangshan's face stiffened, as if his Achilles' heel had been hit. Don't try to talk big. Men, take down Lin Yu. Xia Jie ordered. Lu Wuhan, Yi Mingwei, and Lu Wuhan took a step forward, and at the same time, 3 tokens appeared in front of them. Elder Lu Wuhan of the Sword Clan. Elder Yi Mingwei of the Sword Clan. Elder Long Lin of the Sword Clan. After the 3 of them spoke in unison, Lu Wuhan continued. I'm here to visit the Yao clan on the orders of the Sword Venerable. Xia Jie, Xia Zhan, and the others frowned at the same time. Weren't these people Lin Yu's previous followers? How did they suddenly become elders of the Sword Clan? What a joke. How can you be elders of the Sword Clan? Xia Kuangshan did not believe it at all. However, a token flew out from Lu Wuhan's hand. Xia Kuangshan caught it with his bare hands. He wanted to see what was going on. However, before his hand touched the token, he was injured by the sword energy on the token. How dare you hurt me? This is the Yao clan. How can a piece of trash like you question my Sword Clan's token? You can't even block the sword energy on the token. Get out of my way. Lu Wuhan snorted coldly, took back the token, and took another step forward. Chapter 134. There was sword chi on the token, but it had no effect on Lu Wuhan. However, once it left his hand, it would trigger the sword chi restriction on it. Why? Do you still want to see? Lu Wuhan went around Xia Kuangshan and raised the token at Xia Jie. Xia Jie's face turned ugly. Huh, they are indeed the elders of the sword tribe. He was also shocked. However, these 3 people were wearing the robes of the sword tribe's elders. The robes could be fake, but the tokens couldn't be. Xia Jie wanted to take them down directly to prevent Lin Yu from threatening to detonate the Sacred Heart Cauldron again. However, now that Lin Yu didn't use the Sacred Heart Cauldron, he couldn't do anything. The Sword Tribe and the Yao Tribe are both members of the 8 tribes. May I know why the elders are here? Lu Wuhan replied. We are responsible for escorting Miss Xia Bing back to the Yao tribe safely. Everyone's eyes fell on Xia Bing. They no longer looked down on her. Instead, there was more fear. Being escorted back by the 3 elders and Lin Yu was enough to show Xia Bing's status in the eyes of the Sword Tribe. Xia Bing was grateful for Lin Yu's arrangement. If it weren't for Lin Yu, she wouldn't have received such equal treatment. Father, Xia Bing bowed to Xia Zhan. Xia Zhan smiled in relief. Good, you are indeed my daughter. If it was before, Xia Bing would be very happy to receive Xia Zhan's affirmation. However, Xia Bing's expression was cold and detached as she casually nodded her head. Xia Zhan's heart tightened. This daughter seemed a little different. Xia Bing came back this time to send the Sacred Heart Cauldron back. She raised her hand, and the Sacred Heart Cauldron that Lin Yu had given her in advance appeared in the air. Xia Bing didn't fight for anything. She had already given up on Xia Zhan. Therefore, the Sacred Heart Cauldron flew directly to Xia Jie. This, Xia Jie frowned and his heart tightened. He didn't know what Lin Yu was planning. He didn't care about Xia Bing's schemes. However, he was sure that Xia Bing was under Lin Yu's instructions. What? You don't want the Sacred Heart Cauldron anymore? Lu Wuhan raised his eyebrows. Of course, Xia Bing's return to the Sacred Heart Cauldron can be considered as making amends. Xia Jie checked the Sacred Heart Cauldron and found nothing strange. However, he had directly excluded Lin Yu and his group from the Sacred Heart Cauldron. Clearly, he did not want others to think that Lin Yu had done the Yao clan a favor. He emphasized that Xia Bing was trying to make up for her mistakes. With just one sentence, he had killed the great merit of returning the Sacred Heart Cauldron to the Yao clan. Scheming and astute. Lu Wuhan cursed inwardly. He was also a little displeased that Xia Jie had gotten away with it so easily. However, Lu Wuhan was well aware of what kind of person Lin Yu was. All right, the Sacred Heart Cauldron has been delivered. Let's go. Lu Wuhan turned around and prepared to leave. Wait. Xia Jie's voice rang out. Please wait for a moment. It won't be too late to leave after the chief comes out. Xia Zhan narrowed his eyes. He knew what was on Xia Jie's mind. They did not dare to touch the elders of the Sword Clan to prevent a war between the 8 clans. However, if Xia Jie woke up Xia Zhang with the Sacred Heart Cauldron, Xia Jie might be able to personally take down Lin Yu and the others. In that case, Xia Jie would not get into trouble. Xia Zhang smiled and cupped his fists. Big brother, since the Sacred Heart Cauldron has returned, why don't you refine the pill? Xia Zhan cursed Xia Bing in his heart. This stinky girl actually gave the Sacred Heart Cauldron to Xia Jie. All the credit would have nothing to do with him. Then, second brother, please protect me so that I won't be disturbed. Although Xia Jie was unwilling to wake up Xia Zhang, it was best for him that the Sacred Heart Cauldron was destroyed by Xia Bing. However, he could not do so openly. Jian Qiyun could be domineering in the Sword Clan after killing Jianling Tian. However, he had not killed Xia Zhan yet. His every move would be seen through by his seemingly soft but vicious younger brother at any time. Kwangshan, go get the heart blood. Yes, summon the 7 elders. Under Xia Jie's command, the Sacred Heart Cauldron floated in the air and moved without any wind. Xia Jie sat cross-legged in the air and chanted chant. The 9 suns' transcendent realm's glory chi continuously shot out and merged into the Sacred Heart Cauldron. Soon, the Sacred Heart Cauldron emitted a bright green radiance. At this moment, the 7 elders had already appeared. When they saw the Sacred Heart Cauldron, their eyes were filled with excitement. The number 1 alchemy cauldron in the southern border finally belongs to the Yao clan. Everyone its time, as Xia Jie's voice sounded. The 7 of them took out a piece of black charcoal from their storage rings and circulated their glory chi. 7 pieces of black charcoal flew below the Sacred Heart Cauldron. Creation immortal charcoal, burn. The 7 of them shouted in unison. At this moment, 7 transcendent realms yang chi converged, and the 7 pieces of creation immortal charcoal were ignited. Lu Wuhin and the others had just acted according to Lin Yu's order. However, when they saw the Yao clan's alchemy techniques, their hearts still tightened. The 8 clans of the southern border still have some foundation. He noticed that the flames of the 7 pieces of charcoal were red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and purple. 7 colors. The 7 colors were similar, but they were different. For a moment, the radiance on the Sacred Heart Cauldron reached its peak. Radiance shot out from the top and bottom, like a light pillar connecting the heavens and the earth. Xia Kwangshan and the others also took all the ingredients for the Sacred Heart Pill, including the most important ingredient, the unresolvable realm expert's heart blood. Young master, thank you. Seeing that the Sacred Heart Pill was about to be refined, Xia Bing bowed towards Lin Yu gratefully. Do you feel indignant? Lin Yu was referring to the fact that if the Sacred Heart Pill was refined, Xia Zhang would give all the credit to Xia Jie and his son. That also meant that Xia Bing had lost her last chance to compete with Xia Kwangshan. The future of the Yao clan belonged to Xia Jie and Xia Kwangshan. No, it's fine as long as my grandfather recovers. Lin Yu smiled gently, but your grandfather still needs you to recover. Xia Bing was confused. What do you mean? You'll know soon enough. Let Xia Jie have some fun for now. Lin Yu was also looking forward to it. If the heavens wanted to kill him, they would first make him mad. For hours later, the Sacred Heart Cauldron made a loud noise. Xia Jie and the 7 elders gritted their teeth at the same time. A 7-colored pill shot up from the Sacred Heart Cauldron. The Sacred Heart Pill. We did it. The 8 elders were excited. Xia Jie stepped into the air and clenched his hand into a claw. The Sacred Heart Pill appeared in his hand. Very good. The pill fragrance is strong, and the pill rhythm is complete. He turned around and stepped into a palace behind him. Since he couldn't destroy the Sacred Heart Cauldron, he could rightfully claim the credit for refining the Sacred Heart Pill. It would make no difference to his status. No matter what, he was going to be the future patriarch of the Yao clan. 2 hours later, Xia Jie reappeared in high spirits. Everyone, I didn't let you down. The patriarch is awake. Xia Zhan's heart sank. As soon as he finished speaking, a shocking aura shot up from the palace. An old man slowly walked out of the palace. Chapter 135. He was dressed in white and had a head full of white hair. He looked about the same age as the venerable sword. The old man stepped into the air, and with every step he took, the space beneath his feet froze. It was as if he was stepping on ice. "Greetings, patriarch!" Everyone from a Yao clan knelt down and shouted in unison. The old man looked down at everyone. After instructing Xia Guangshan and Xia Bing to go to the Wind Moon gathering, he fainted due to his illness. Now that he woke up, he already had a plan in mind. Xia Bing, Xia Guangshan, come forward. Hearing Xia Zheng's words, Xia Guangshan immediately stepped forward and pretended to be well-behaved. "Grandfather, you've just recovered from your illness, so you should pay more attention to your rest." "Good boy." Xia Zheng nodded happily. "I heard from your father that you and him should be credited for bringing back the Sacred Heart Cauldron." "Shameless." "Heh, it seems that Xia Jie put in a lot of good words for himself." Yi Mingwei and Lu Wuhan scolded in a low voice. Xia Bing's eyes dimmed, but she was already very happy that Xia Zheng could wake up. However, Lin Yu's words just now gave her an ominous premonition. Xia Bing stepped forward and bowed. Xia Zheng revealed a kind gaze. "Binger, you've lost weight." "No, I'm fine." Xia Bing's eyes were filled with tears. "Very good." She didn't dare to tell Xia Zheng her grievances. "Father," Xia Bing almost lost the Sacred Heart Cauldron. "Fortunately, Guangshan and I were concerned about you and brought it back for you." Xia Jie bowed and looked as if he was begging for mercy for Xia Bing. Xia Bing is still too young. Although she made a lot of mistakes this time, I hope father won't punish her too heavily. Xia Jie glanced back at Xia Zhan. "Right, second brother?" No one in the Yao clan dared to oppose Xia Jie's words. They were all aware that the credit for refining the Sacred Heart Pill and saving Xia Zheng had fallen on Xia Jie's shoulders. This, Xia Bing was wrong. Xia Zhan cursed in his heart. Xia Jie was now in power, but he didn't expect that he would take the opportunity to suppress them so soon. "Young master, let's take Bing away." Yi Mingwei couldn't bear it. Along the way, she and Xia Bing had built a good relationship. At this moment, seeing that Xia Bing's credit was taken away, her father did not want to protect her at all. This made Yi Mingwei and the others feel aggrieved. "Binger, is what your father and uncle said true?" Xia Zheng's eyes fell on Xia Bing. This young girl was all alone at this moment. Because of her weakness, she had to endure the feeling of being abandoned by her friends and family. "Clan head Xia, have you really recovered?" Suddenly, Lin Yu smiled from afar. He interrupted Xia Zheng's question. "Nonsense. With my Sacred Heart Pill, my father has already recovered," Xia Jie said furiously. "Who is this person?" Xia Zheng's gaze fell on Lin Yu, and he suddenly felt a little surprised. Lin Yu's eyes were filled with incomparable determination and sincerity. That was a Dao heart that was even more powerful than his. "Father, this person is called Lin Yu. Is he the one who colluded with Xia Bing to steal the Sacred Heart Cauldron?" After hearing Xia Jie's words, Xia Zheng frowned. "Is it true?" His voice fell. In an instant, the members of the Yao clan surrounded Lin Yu. He became the target of public criticism. "Father, Lin Yu and the 3 people beside him have the Sword Tribe's elder token. I think this matter must have something to do with the Sword Honorable." Xia Jie continued to sow discord. "No, it was young master who stole the Sacred Heart Cauldron." Xia Bing immediately wanted to defend Lin Yu. She could be wronged, but she didn't want Lin Yu to be wronged. "That's right." Everyone saw Lin Yu taking a step forward with a fearless look. "It's true. Come and bite me, old man." Boom. Everyone was shocked when they heard this. Even Xia Bing, Long Lin, and the others didn't know what Lin Yu was up to. "How dare you? Take him down," Xia Jie ordered. The members of the Yao clan approached Lin Yu, only to see Lin Yu smirking. The 4 sacred swords flew out and formed a powerful sword aura that surrounded the 4 of them. Azure Dragon Sword, White Tiger, 4 sacred swords. Damn it, isn't that the Sword Tribe's guardian divine sword? Lin Yu provoked again. No one dares to come forward? The sharp sword aura formed a storm. Even though Lin Yu didn't move, he was like the king of swords with the 4 sacred swords stabbed into the ground. None of the members of the Yao clan dared to step forward. Even Xia Jie and Xia Zhan had ugly expressions on their faces. They couldn't touch Lin Yu? As expected, the members of the Yao clan are all cowards, just like you. Lin Yu's gaze landed on Xia Zhang. Junior, I don't know why you're carrying the Sword Tribe's guardian divine sword. However, you won't be leaving the Yao clan today. Xia Zhang's face was red with anger. He took a step forward, and a chilling aura descended from the sky. Clan leader, they're about to attack. Dodge! Dodge! An invincible realm expert was the strongest expert below the three sovereigns. If their battle affected the Transcendent Realm and Samsara Realm experts, they wouldn't even know how they died. Xia Jie smirked. Xia Zhang could kill Lin Yu personally. This was the best outcome. Once Lin Yu died, he and Xia Bing's crimes would be confirmed forever. Grandpa no. Xia Bing blocked Lin Yu's sword Aura Storm. Move aside, Binger. If he's really someone you brought back, you'll be punished too. Xia Bing didn't listen to him at all. However, the moment Xia Zhang took a step forward, everyone saw the chilling aura in the air being swept away. It instantly returned to Xia Zhang's body like a whirlpool. How can this be? Xia Zhang's eyes widened. He felt a knot in his heart, and a bloody taste came from his throat. Under everyone's gaze, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Clan leader. Damn it. Didn't the clan leader recover? Xia Zhang's body trembled as he stared at Xia Jie. There's something wrong with the Sacred Heart pill. Xia Jie's heart tightened. He immediately stepped forward, but Xia Zhang's right hand flung him away, and he retreated a few steps. It's over. Xia Zhang's aura was weak. Unfilial son, what did you do? Xia Zhang stared at Xia Jie. He was the clan leader of the medicine clan. His alchemy skills were much better than Xia Jie's. How could he not know where the problem was? It's me, father. Xia Jie's eyes turned, and a chill ran down his spine. He was arrogant just a moment ago, but now his merit had turned into a huge crime. On the contrary, Xia Zhang's injuries seemed to have worsened. Xia Jie, you should know where the invincible heart blood came from, right? Lin Yu smiled faintly. Xia Jie was stunned. Bastard, where did it come from? Xia Zhang's voice sounded. Xia Jie immediately fell to his knees. Father, the Nangong clan bought it. The blood belongs to the Nangong clan's clan leader, Nangong Yin. Damn it. After being pointed out by Lin Yu, Xia Jie immediately knew that the problem with the Sacred Heart pill lay in the blood essence. Nangong Yin, he wants to harm me. Xia Zhang gritted his teeth and spat out another mouthful of blood. Upon seeing this, Lin Yu put away the 4 sacred swords. There was no need for him to do anything. The medicine clan was now in big trouble. Chapter 136. Xia Jie and his son fell to their knees, their bodies trembling. Xia Zhang's aura was weakening at this moment. Grandpa! Xia Bing moved gracefully and appeared beside Xia Zhang. Bing-er! Xia Bing's eyes were filled with tears. Xia Zhang understood what was going on. At this moment, only his granddaughter could help him up. Grandpa, I'll go look for heart blood and refine another Sacred Heart pill. There's no time. Xia Zhang shook his head. Refining the pill will take at least 6 hours. Besides, the heart blood of other invincible experts. Cough. Xia Zhang spat out a third mouthful of blood. In an instant, his face was as pale as a sheet. He knew very well that he could not hold on for 4 hours. 4 hours was not even enough to refine the pill, let alone find heart blood. Xia Zhang's eyes moved as he pointed at Xia Jie and cursed. Brother, you want to harm father? Damn it. What nonsense are you talking about? Xia Jie's heart skipped a beat. He did not expect Xia Zhang to kick him while he was down. Everyone's gaze fell on him. Xia Jie thought for a moment and said, This still needs to be investigated. What are you doing? Take down Xia Jie and his son. Xia Zhang's voice rang out. In an instant, the 7 elders suppressed Xia Zhang. Damn it. Old thing. I'm a medicine clan's clan leader. How dare you touch me? Xia Jie was furious, but the 7 clan leaders were only loyal to Xia Zhang. Xia Zhang held Xia Bing's hand. Child, you didn't steal the Sacred Heart Cauldron. You didn't harm me, right? Xia Bing was still sobbing uncontrollably because she suddenly felt that Xia Zhang's hand was as cold as ice. No, I didn't. Xia Bing quickly shook her head. All right. Xia Zheng smiled. With his last breath, he said, 7 great elders, after I die, please assist Xia Bing and assume the position of patriarch. The 7 elders looked at each other and immediately knelt to accept the order. Xia Jie, who was suppressed, was shocked. The position of clan leader that he had been working so hard for fell into Xia Bing's hands at this moment. No, old thing, you're crazy. Xia Bing is nothing. Even Xia Guangshan cursed. Suddenly, a slap landed on Xia Guangshan's face. It was Lin Yu. Damn it, Lin Yu. Xia Guangshan glared at Lin Yu. Now that he thought about it, it was all because of Lin Yu that he went from heaven to hell. He had infuriated Xia Zheng, causing the hidden danger of the Sacred Heart Pill to erupt. That was what had led to the current situation. Die for me. Xia Guangshan wanted to kill Lin Yu as his heavenly flame technique erupted. Take him down. Xia Bing's cold voice sounded. One of the 7 elders immediately appeared in front of Xia Guangshan. There was no need for Lin Yu to make a move. Xia Guangshan was already immobilized. Whoever dares to touch young master again will die. In the past, only the servants would listen to Xia Bing's words. But now, she was representing the Yao clan's clan chief. Grandpa, very good. Xia Zheng heaved a sigh of relief. He had always known about Xia Bing's tenacity. All right, let's not waste any more time. Lin Yu had already walked to the side of the Sacred Heart Cauldron. 7 elders, do you still have the herbs to refine the Sacred Heart Pill? The 7 of them were stunned. We do, but the catalyst. Lin Yu swiped his storage ring, and a drop of golden blood floated out. The moment the golden blood appeared, a strong storm of light qi formed around Lin Yu. Heart blood, unyielding heart blood. Xia Bing's pupils dilated. Lin Yu was holding great venerable Shumi's heart blood, but the original heart blood was 1,000 times denser than this drop. Now, Lin Yu was holding a drop of diluted mixed blood. It was something that Lin Yu didn't care about, but it was more than enough to refine the Sacred Heart Pill. Xia Bing, I'll help. You refine the pill. Grandpa, wait for me here. Xia Bing's eyes rekindled with hope. Now, Lin Yu was like the savior of the Yao clan, reflected in everyone's eyes. Yi Mingwei and the others instantly understood. Everything is as young master expected. The 7 elders handed over the herbs. Lin Yu raised his hand and mixed the essence blood into the herbs. Xia Bing stepped into the air and merged her light qi into the Sacred Heart Cauldron. The cauldron shone brightly. The 7 elders wanted to help, but Xia Bing stopped them. With young master here, it's enough. Xia Bing listened to Lin Yu completely. Lin Yu meant that he only needed to help. As expected, the true sun fire covered the sky and swallowed the Sacred Heart Cauldron. This is crazy. The 7 elders' hearts tightened, and worry appeared on their old faces. No, burning the entire cauldron so violently will definitely damage the herbs. It can't be refined. It can't be refined. Only Xia Zheng stared at the Sacred Heart Cauldron with heavy eyelids. This is great venerable Shumi's flames. Inside the Sacred Heart Cauldron, the herbs melted under the black fire. Xia Bing focused on controlling the herbs and gathering them with the essence blood as the center. Faster, faster. Xia Bing gritted her teeth and burned her cultivation in exchange for faster fusion. However, the 7 elders were the most surprised at this moment was Lin Yu. How long did he take to refine all the herbs? That medicinal power is incomparably pure, but he only used an hour. No wonder the patriarch didn't let us do it. Lin Yu's refining speed is faster than the 7 of us combined. The 7 grand elders were all shocked. Impossible, he can't refine it. Xia Jie gritted his teeth. If Lin Yu and Xia Bing refined the Sacred Heart Cauldron, he would be done for. In less than 2 hours, the Sacred Heart Cauldron let out a shocking roar. A pill that shone brighter than before shot into the sky. This time, it wasn't Xia Jie who received the pill, but Xia Bing. Young master, it's done. Go. Lin Yu nodded, and Xia Bing immediately landed next to Xia Zheng. Even with Xia Zheng's status, he was stunned as he stared at the pill in Xia Bing's hand. Colorless pill. Great. There's actually such an expert in alchemy in the southern land other than the Yao clan. Others might not be able to tell, but how could Xia Zheng not know? Lin Yu seemed to be just a support pill, but his effect was even greater than Xia Bing's. Xia Zheng swallowed the pill without hesitation. Instantly, vitality erupted from his body and surged into his organs. Xia Zheng's originally pale face regained some color at this moment. Xia Bing turned around and knelt down in front of Lin Yu. "Thank you, young master." It was a miracle that Xia Zheng could get better, and this miracle was created by Lin Yu. As expected of young master, I'm afraid Xia Bing won't be interested in other men for the rest of her life. Lu Wuhan and Yi Mingyue spoke one after another. Lin Yu shrugged. He only needed to achieve his goal. As for whether Xia Bing had feelings for him, it didn't matter to a guy like him who didn't have good luck with women. Xia Zheng exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and clawed at Xia Jie. A powerful surge of obsidian energy swept over, and Xia Jie was sent flying. Slap! A loud slap landed on Xia Jie's face. Chapter 137. Put Xia Jie and his son in jail and never let them out. Xia Zheng remembered clearly how his two unfilial descendants treated him just now. Father, you've really recovered." Xia Zheng quickly tried to curry favor with him. Everyone could see Xia Zheng's current state. He was completely different from the fake core formation cultivator from before. "You should reflect on yourself," Xia Zheng said coldly. "Father, I didn't do anything wrong." Xia Zheng was confused. Xia Zheng patted Xia Bing's arm. "Binger was wrong just now, but as her father, you chose to hit her when she's down. What's the use of having a father like you?" Xia Zheng was speechless. Xia Zheng was such an upright and plain-spoken person. But Xia Zheng didn't expect that no action could escape Xia Zheng's sharp eyes. Xia Zheng was taken away, and the farce here finally subsided. Lin Yu was arranged to stay in the honorable guest hall by Xia Bing. After Xia Bing dealt with some trivial matters, Xia Zheng came personally. Yi Mingyue and the others also took their leave. After all, this was a southern border clan leader. It was inconvenient for them to be present when he talked to Lin Yu. Xia Zheng's life was saved by little brother Lin. Xia Zheng was simple and direct. "How would you like the medicine clan to repay you, brother Lin?" Lin Yu liked this kind of straightforward conversation. The 8 clans of the southern border are in turmoil, and the Buddha Emperor has been missing for 33 years. I think clan leader Xia should know about this, right? Xia Zheng frowned. "Little brother Lin, you've helped the medicine clan, so I won't hide it. The southern border is indeed in turmoil now." Lin Yu smiled and continued. "Then clan leader Xia should know where the Buddha Emperor is, right?" Xia Zheng's expression was solemn. He couldn't tell Lin Yu about this. "Clan leader Xia, you don't want to tell me where the Buddha Emperor is. Actually, I already know where he is." Lin Yu changed the topic. "I only hope that if the 8 clans of the southern border are at war, clan leader Xia will choose the right side." Of course. Xia Zheng was even more shocked by Lin Yu. In the beginning, it was only because of his Pill Dao and Grand Sun True Fire. But now, he was even more surprised by what Lin Yu knew. Xia Zheng has always been on the Buddha Emperor's side. Lin Yu nodded his head. "That's great. As for the repayment that clan head Xia mentioned, Lin Yu would like to borrow the strength of the Yao clan when the Great War starts." Xia Zheng looked troubled. Lin Yu added, "Don't worry, clan head Xia. Lin Yu is the same as you, standing on the Buddha Emperor's side." Xia Zheng felt relieved. "Little brother, you might not be able to participate in the War of the 8 clans with your current strength. Why don't you stay in the Yao clan for a while?" Lin Yu smiled. Lin Yu and clan leader Yao Gu still have a small agreement, so I won't stay any longer. Xia Zheng's promise and Xia Bing's current identity. Lin Yu had already obtained the assistance of the Yao clan. The Sword clan and Yao clan were now his forces. Next, Lin Yu bade farewell to Xia Bing and headed directly to the Wind Moon clan. At the back of the Wind Moon restaurant, when Lin Yu and the rest stepped into the Wind Moon clan's territory, the 4 immortals of Qin, Qi, calligraphy, and painting were already waiting there. Only people like Lin Yu or the young lady riding a koan would be welcomed by the 4 immortals of Qin, Qi, calligraphy, and painting. Young Master Lin's name has spread throughout the southern border again. Qin immortal, Xiu bowed to welcome him. Ever since Lin Yu saw Lin Xiu, he knew that he had to move faster. He was now gathering the strength of the 8 clans, but he knew that Lin Xiu was there too. Where's clan leader Yao Ge? Elder sister is already waiting at the headquarters. Lin Yu went straight in. This time, there was no world like chess and no big dream. The 4 immortals of Qin, Qi, calligraphy, and painting were even more fearful of this young man because of Yao Ji's evaluation of Lin Yu. Young master is getting more and more powerful. Lu Wuhan chuckled. Tian Xen Er's beautiful eyes flashed. Why? Do you want to try the silver fish immortal do? Lu Wuhan's face twitched. He embarrassed himself here last time. Now that he was mentioned, Lu Wuhan closed his eyes and didn't say anything. He hoped that others couldn't see his embarrassment. Lin Yu stepped over the ancient bridge and saw that Yao Ji's door was already open. Did young Master Lin's trip go smoothly? Yao Ji's lazy voice sounded. Lin Yu came forward and saw a woman in a red tulle dress, revealing her slender white legs, lying sideways on the soft couch. The Wind Moon clan is known for their intelligence and should know better than Lin Yu. Yao Ge wasn't angry because of Lin Yu's words. Of course, she knew that with a character like Lin Yu, he already knew the Wind Moon clan very well. Young Master is now the great benefactor of the Yao clan and Sword clan. I'm afraid no one else in the 8 clans can be like Young Master. Yuinga held the wine jug in her hand, and as she drank, the wine flowed down her small mouth, across her thin chin, and dripped into the bottomless ravine. If it was an ordinary man, he would have died by now. Young Master, if you stomp your feet now, the 8 clans will be shaken. I didn't expect you to be willing to come to my small Wind Moon clan. Yao Ji's words were from the bottom of her heart. In a short period of time, the information she received about Lin Yu had repeatedly shocked her. Yao Ge stood up and slid her fingers down Lin Yu's shoulder. Young Master Lin, don't you want to drink with me? Looking at Yao Ji's slightly tipsy face, Lin Yu couldn't help but recall that in the 100,000 years he was trapped, he had used all kinds of methods, both soft and hard, to trick Yao Ge into having sex for the first time. Later on, Lin Yu had tried every time. This woman had a special skill that fascinated him during that time. Thinking of this, Lin Yu grabbed Yao Ji's slim waist and pulled her close to him. The latter's expression changed slightly. Young Master Lin, you're so rough. Don't you like rough and rough people? Lin Yu smiled teasingly. Yao Ge suddenly felt that Lin Yu saw through her completely. She had only wanted to tease the most famous person in the southern border on a whim. But now, her heart was in a mess. Lin Yu's hand slid down her back. Young Master, wait. Yao Ge cried out in pain and immediately distanced herself from Lin Yu. Lin Yu's hand missed. He smiled faintly. Let's talk about serious matters, clan leader Yao Ge. He purposely said the word clan leader. Yao Ge came back to her senses. However, the blush on her cheeks didn't fade. Young Master Lin, I can agree to the 33 levels of heaven. Lin Yu smiled. I want something else. What is it? Yao Ge frowned. Lin Yu swiped his storage ring, and sword energy shot into the sky. The 4 sacred swords coiled around him. Yao Ji's eyes widened. She had heard that Lin Yu had displayed the 4 sacred swords in the Yao clan. However, they were the most precious treasures of the Sword clan. Why was the black tortoise sword in Lin Yu's hands? Even the other 3 swords were in his hands. Chapter 138. What do you mean, young master? Fear appeared in Yuinga's eyes. Lin Yu wasn't like Jian Shun. Even if he had the Azure Dragon Sword, he didn't know the Azure Dragon Sword art and couldn't unleash its true power. Yuinga could clearly feel that the 4 divine swords were emitting a low roar. Clearly, Lin Yu could perfectly control them. Once they unleashed their full power, even she might not be his match. Don't misunderstand. I'm not threatening you. Lin Yu smiled innocently. He had a harmless look on his face. But Yuinga knew that this guy wasn't easy to deal with. In a short time, he had already used both the carrot and the stick against her, and the effect was quite good. Young master, just say it. Lin Yu nodded. What I mean is I want to borrow the 5 beauties of wind and moon for a while. Yuinga was smart. When she saw the 4 divine swords and thought about Lin Yu's words, she was shocked. Young master, are you trying to do something interesting? Lin Yu knew that she was asking the obvious, so he stepped forward. Under the pressure of the 4 divine swords, Yuinga sensed that her escape route was blocked by sword chi. She had no choice but to let Lin Yu come closer. Aren't you just something interesting? I am. Yuinga paused. There was a trap in this sentence. If she objected, wouldn't she be calling herself good for nothing? Young Master Lin, you've only seen me twice. How would you know that I'm interesting? Yuinga turned her head away. Her heart was pounding. She didn't understand. She didn't know if Lin Yu had matured yet, but he was still able to move her heart at every turn. Yuinga's expression turned serious. She wanted to fight Lin Yu again. Otherwise, she would lose face as the leader of the Wind and Moon clan if she lost to Lin Yu in every way. If you're thin-skinned, don't play with fire. Lin Yu suddenly whispered into her ear. He knew that this woman didn't know anything about the relationship between men and women. Yuinga glared at Lin Yu. The latter coughed softly. I said we're talking business. Clan leader Yuinga, please control yourself. Before Xiangge could refute him, she had already restrained herself. You were the one who touched me. However, Lin Yu interrupted her. The war of the 8 clans is imminent. The Tomb Bearers, the Beast Tamers, the Southern Barbarians, and the Nangong clan have probably joined the undercurrent in the south. Lin Yu suddenly became serious, which made Yao Ji's body dry up. How did young master know all this? She did not hide it as she had done before. The Wind Moon clan received the information, but she was very surprised as to how Lin Yu received the information. If we want to fight against the existence in the dark, we need the other 4 clans and the Buddha Emperor to work together. Otherwise, the day the South changes hands will be the day the other 4 clans are destroyed. Lin Yu's tone was calm, but Yao Ge could hear the urgency in his voice. Young master wants to be the master of the 4 races alliance? Yao Ge asked in surprise. This was something that was almost impossible in the past. Why not? Lin Yu's eyes were full of confidence. The Medicine Clan and the Sword Clan are already under my control, aren't they? He raised his right hand and lifted Yao Ji's thin chin. The Wind Moon Clan will be there soon. No one dared to say this in front of the Wind Moon Clan leader. It was no different from seizing power and rebelling. However, when Lin Yu said it, Yao Ge could not even refute. Young master, do you know when the undercurrent will erupt? She wanted to know how much time the Wind Moon clan had to prepare. At any time, Lin Yu smiled. They're not sure if the Buddha Emperor is in the hall. Once they are sure, it will be war. Yao Ji's heart tightened. Young master, how do you know? The Buddha Emperor's whereabouts were very important. You only need to know that I can protect the Wind Moon clan to survive this disaster. Yao Ge stared into his eyes. Finally, she exhaled a breath of fragrance. She compromised and said, I can lend you the 5 beauties of Wind Moon. Young master, you already know about the 4 swords 5 beauties god-killing formation, right? I know a little. Lin Yu answered humbly. Yao Ge smiled helplessly. This is the purest pot of drunken life. She took out a brocade box from her storage ring. Unlike the other wine jugs, this wine jug was naturally extraordinary when placed in the brocade box. As for the other 4, they are still with my 4 sisters. I need to summon them. Yao Ge looked at Lin Yu uneasily. Young master, please don't lie to me. Handing over the Wind Moon 5 absolutes was like handing the Wind Moon clan's lifeline to Lin Yu. However, with Lin Yu's ability, Yao Ge had no choice but to hand over the 5 absolutes. Please wait, young master. Yao Ge wanted to summon the 4 immortals, but suddenly, 3 people in purple appeared outside the door. Greetings, clan leader. The 3 people half knelt. However, when they saw Lin Yu, their eyes became serious. They covered their faces, so their faces could not be seen clearly. However, it was not hard to tell from their figures that they were 3 women. The Wind Moon's secret emissary has a good figure. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Yao Ge frowned. She felt like all her secrets had been seen through by Lin Yu, which made her feel very confused. Speak. Young master is not an outsider. The three people were surprised. This was the first time they saw a man in the Wind Moon clan's headquarters. The Wind Moon's secret emissary in the middle said, "The Buddhist hall has invited us to participate in the Hidden Ape meeting." Yao Ge did not understand. What Hidden Ape meeting? Another secret emissary said, "I heard that an unbreakable realm ape appeared in the Buddhist hall a while ago. This ape seems to be an ownerless beast. The Buddhist hall wanted to subdue it. An unbreakable realm ape." Yao Ge frowned. Such a powerful beast had never appeared in the southern border. The last time she saw an unbreakable realm beast, it was the Kunpeng riding the Kunpeng girl. Only Lin Yu blinked. He did not know what the little monkey had done. The secret emissary continued. The ape held a stick and smashed it at the entrance of the Buddhist hall. When the people of the Buddhist hall tried to catch it, they were all pushed back by the stick. There were many casualties. Yao Ge smiled helplessly. Something happened to the Buddha Emperor. The Buddhist Hall clan, which was known as the strongest of the 8 clans, could not even take care of a monkey. The secret emissary seemed to know what Yao Ge was thinking. He explained that stick can be long or short, big or small. When the ape swung it, heaven and earth cracked. Now, the stick is stuck at the entrance of the Buddhist hall, but it seems that only the ape can use it. The people of the Buddhist hall have tried many methods, but they could not move the stick. Yao Ge felt that things were not simple. "Where is the ape?" The three of them looked at each other. The leader said, "The ape is sleeping on the stick." The Buddhist hall has no choice, so they gathered the Imperial Beast clan, Nangong clan, Southern Wilderness, and our Wind Moon clan to gather at the Buddhist hall tomorrow. Yao Ge finally understood the reason. It turned out that the Buddhist hall was looking for the nearby clans to help them fight the apes. "Don't bother about this," Yao Ge said calmly. She was still thinking about gathering the 4 immortals and agreeing to Lin Yu's request. "No," Lin Yu interrupted her. "Clan leader Yao Ge, can Lin Yu represent the Wind Moon clan to go to the Buddhist hall?" Chapter 139. Of course, he didn't elaborate on his relationship with the little monkey. "That monkey has the strength of the invincible realm. I might be able to subdue it." Yao Ge was surprised. "Are you confident?" She thought to herself. How could an invincible realm beast be subdued so easily? "I can always give it a try." Lin Yu smiled faintly. Yao Ge didn't know what Lin Yu was up to. She thought to herself, what if this kid runs away with the 5 beauties of wind and moon? In that case, I'll have the 4 immortals accompany young Master Lin to the temple. Yao Ji's eyes turned. She had already given the order. Lin Yu didn't mind. He went with the flow and said, "Then my 3 friends will stay in the Wind Moon clan for the time being. 33 levels of heaven. Clan leader Yao Ge, please make arrangements for them." Yao Ge was unhappy at first. "Why are you so nice to your people?" But Lin Yu said, "Perhaps clan leader Yao Ge can comprehend the secret of breaking through to the invincible realm for my 3 friends." "What?" Yao Ge was confused. But Lin Yu didn't explain. In the blink of an eye, he had already found the 4 immortals and boarded the ship together. "Shiyu is very happy that young Master Lin can bring us along." Shiyu said obediently. "Among the 4 immortals, you're the most understanding." Lin Yu smiled faintly. The other 3 immortals looked at each other. They remembered Yao Ji's instructions before she left. "Young Master, let's go and return quickly." The warship left the Wind Moon clan. Yi Mingwei and the other 2 looked reluctant. But Lin Yu had already arranged the best things for them. In front of the 3 of them was a pot full of 33 levels of heaven. Young Master said that this thing can greatly increase one's cultivation. Old Lu cheers. On the warship, Lin Yu was happy. With the 4 immortals accompanying me, Lin Yu is still a little shy. The 4 immortals didn't believe him. They didn't think that this guy was shy. Young Master Lin is a top genius of the southern border. I heard that Jian Shun and Jian Qiyun both died at your hands. Shiyu asked curiously. Don't spout nonsense. I have a good relationship with the sword race. Lin Yu glanced at her. But how did Jian Shun and Jian Qiyun die? Suicide. The 4 immortals were stunned. I don't believe you. Tian Xener, who was standing at the side, was still unwilling to give up. Young Master, I heard that the young clan leader of the Yao clan, Xia Jia, had concocted a fake Sacred Heart pill and almost poisoned the Yao clan leader to death. That's true. That guy skimps on materials. The pills he refines will definitely not be good. Lin Yu ate the fresh fruit. Although the four women had heard of Lin Yu's great achievements, they had never heard of him before. However, hearing about it and Lin Yu himself were two completely different experiences. Young master, then how are you able to use the Four Sages sword art of the sword race? Su Feng looked over curiously. She remembered that Lin Yu was even better at using the black tortoise sword than Jian Shun at the Wind Moon Gathering. About this, Lin Yu wanted to say something, but stopped. This made the four women's moods fluctuate. Su Feng sat beside Lin Yu. She was wearing a tight-fitting long robe that outlined her stunning curves. She immediately understood and peeled a fresh fruit. Lin Yu opened his mouth. Su Feng pursed her lips. She had never served a man like this in her life. However, she remembered Yao Ji's instructions. Other than bringing Lin Yu back to the Wind Moon clan, the four immortals also had to try their best to find out Lin Yu's secret. Sucking on Su Feng's jade finger, Lin Yu tasted the fresh fruit and rested his head on his hands. The Four Sages sword art is not a powerful sword technique. However, when used with the Four Sages sword, it can increase the power of this sword technique greatly. Lin Yu did not get to the main point at all. Su Feng thought, could it be that Lin Yu didn't like it when she fed him? Thinking of this, she winked at Qiu Lingshan on the other side. Qiu Lingshan was the youngest book immortal among the four immortals. She used a jade brush to write words and had once defeated Lu Wuhan. However, she looked less than 20 years old now. Obviously, her talent was extremely terrifying, which was why she could be one of the 5 Wind Moon Immortals. Qiu Lingshan imitated Su Feng and peeled a fresh fruit as thick as a finger and put it into Lin Yu's mouth. Her movements were very unfamiliar, but the feeling of her finger being eaten by Lin Yu made Qiu Lingshan's hair stand on end. As if she had been electrocuted, she immediately shrank back. Lin Yu glanced at Qiu Lingshan's wrist. Under the thin sleeve, he also saw a few golden lines engraved on Qiu Lingshan's wrist. The 10th level of the Golden Hook Silver Stroke. Although it can temper the body, you drew it wrong. Qiu Lingshan's heart tightened. Young master, how did you know? She subconsciously pulled her sleeve. After all, men and women were different. Lin Yu looked over. When you were cultivating, did you feel the Bingfeng acupoint, Qihaiyu acupoint, and Huiyang acupoint on your back stinging? Well, a little. When you drew the 10th level on your body, the stinging started, right? Qiu Lingshan nodded. The other 3 immortals looked at Lin Yu in surprise. Young master, you've also studied acupoints and calligraphy? Qiu asked. I know a little. The Tao of calligraphy is connected to the Tao of talismans, and it is also compatible with array formations and blood curses. However, once there is a mistake, not only will there be no benefits, but it will also backfire. Qiu Lingshan shook her head and said, Young master, how do you know that I drew it wrong? You didn't even look at it. I don't need to look at your whole body to know. Lin Yu knew that Qiu Lingshan was a little stubborn, so he said, You drew it on your back for at least 3 years. In 3 years, did your body make any progress? Qiu Lingshan blushed and shook her head. Well, not making any progress doesn't mean I drew it wrong. But not only did your body not make any progress, but you also couldn't sleep every night. Even when you used your Yao Qi, your blood flow was a bit sluggish. Qiu Lingshan's whole body was deflated. She finally understood how powerful Lin Yu was. Shi Yu and the others didn't need to wait for Qiu Lingshan to admit it. They could tell from her expression that Lin Yu was right. Lingshan, why didn't you mention such an important thing to us? That's right. If young Master Lin hadn't seen through it, your hidden injuries would have caused you to suffer irrecoverable injuries. Qiu Lingshan bit her lips. I'm sorry. Fine. Lin Yu changed his posture. She might not even know she drew it wrong. She was also troubled. Lingshan, do you know how to fix it? Qiu Lingshan shook her head. I don't know what went wrong. When her body showed the symptoms that Lin Yu mentioned, she had checked her body many times, but she didn't find anything wrong. Moreover, once the golden hook and silver stroke were drawn, Unless Qiu Lingshan's body reached the samsara realm, it couldn't be removed. I don't know if sister has a way. That's a bit difficult. Shiyu and Su Feng said one after another. Qiu Lingshan realized how bad her situation was. Her face was a bit pale. It's all my fault for being impatient. But even sister doesn't know how to solve it. The Wind Moon Immortals learn different things. Qiu Lingshan certainly knew that Jiu Xian didn't understand calligraphy. So how could he solve it? Chapter 140. Only someone who knows how to do it might be able to solve it. Qiu Lingshan said dejectedly, and they have to be better than me. Because she couldn't tell. Everyone was troubled. Tian Xen blinked and looked at Lin Yu. Isn't young Master Lin better than you? Everyone came back to their senses. That's right, young Master Lin can see the problem, so he definitely knows how to solve it. Young Master Lin, can you help Lingshan? If this is successful, Lingshan is willing to pay any price. The three immortals took turns to speak. Lin Yu shook his head awkwardly. It's not easy. Young Master, do you have any conditions? Qiu Lingshan could tell from Lin Yu's tone that he definitely had a way. But Lin Yu looked over. I don't have any conditions, it's just a small matter, but what? Qiu Lingshan asked. How did you draw it? Lin Yu reminded Qiu Lingshan. The latter thought about it, and her face turned red. Young Master, do I really have to do that? Of course, otherwise, how can I correct the places you drew wrongly? Lin Yu shrugged. He didn't care. Qiu Lingshan's heart tightened. Seeing this, the three immortals seemed to understand something. Lingshan, the path of cultivation is not to give in to small matters. Right. Young Master Lin is also a gentleman. He won't tell anyone about this. Lin Yu blinked. I haven't agreed yet. Qiu Lingshan didn't dare to hesitate. She cupped her fists and said, Young Master, please help Lingshan. Lin Yu glanced at her. This brat was really stubborn. It was really rare to see her like this. Forget it. Wait for me in the cabin. Qiu Lingshan understood something. Her face turned red, and she went in. Lin Yu stretched. Shiyu and the other two bowed. Thank you, young master. Lin Yu nodded helplessly. If you hear any sounds later, don't disturb me. Young master, what sound will there be? Su Feng asked. The sound of pain. After Lin Yu finished speaking, he turned around and entered the cabin. As soon as the door opened, he saw Qiu Lingshan's back facing him. The golden hooks and silver strokes on his body were also displayed without reservation in front of Lin Yu. Of course, there was also Qiu Lingshan's breathtaking beauty. Lin Yu was very calm. He knew that he was doing something serious. There are 3 wrong points. The Bingfeng acupoint, the Qihai acupoint, and the Huiyang acupoint. Lin Yu's right hand clamped down on the Huiyang acupoint with 2 fingers. 6 hours later, Lin Yu walked out. The 3 immortals were already at the door. Done eavesdropping? Lin Yu glanced at the 3 gossipy women. Sure enough, no matter how beautiful a woman was, her nature was still the same. However, at this moment, the 3 immortals' faces were all red. Young master, just now. Don't misunderstand, they are all normal voices. Lin Yu could not be bothered to say more. Put on your clothes and come out by yourself. Behind him, Qiu Lingshan appeared. Her forehead was still dripping with sweat. She immediately bowed to Lin Yu. Thank you, young master. Lingshan, how are you? Shiyu asked. Qiu Lingshan blushed. I'm fine. I feel very comfortable. It's all thanks to young master. After hearing that, the 4 immortals bowed to Lin Yu in unison to thank him. At the same time, the warship arrived at the entrance of the Buddhist hall. Isn't this the Wind Moon clan's warship? I wonder which immortal is here. Outside the golden door of the Buddhist hall, a familiar voice was heard. Lin Yu and the rest walked out of the warship. However, the person who spoke had a drastic change in expression. Lin Yu. Lin Yu turned around and saw the Nangong clan's warship beside him. And the people on the deck of the warship were the siblings Nangong Lai and Nangong Qin. Nangong Lai's throat was dry, because he saw that the goddess of his dreams, Shiyu, was also following behind Lin Yu. It was a few hours' journey from here to the Wind Moon clan. 1 man and 4 women. Who knew what would happen along the way? Thinking of this, Nangong Lai even had the heart to die. I heard that a young man who did not belong to the 8 clans appeared in the southern border recently. However, he took 2 treasures from the Wind Moon gathering. So it's him. The 3rd warship arrived. On it, the word desolate was flying. Young master, it's someone from the southern desolate. Xiu explained to Lin Yu in a low voice. This intimate action made Nangong Lai's eyes turn bloodshot. Wu Tsang, you overestimate him. This person is just a little smart. Nangong Lai replied to the person who spoke on the southern desolate warship. It was a middle-aged man with a coarse beard. At this moment, he also glanced at Lin Yu's direction. The Wind Moon 4 immortals came together. Looking at this Lin Yu, he's just an embroidered pillow hiding behind a woman. Brother Wu Tsang is right. Nangong Lai looked at Lin Yu coldly. Brother Lai, he's very scary. Let's not provoke him. Get lost. How could Nangong Lai listen to Nangong Qin's words? The closer Xiu got to Lin Yu, the more his jealousy burned. At this moment, outside the temple, 3 warships were here at the same time. However, the door of the temple was not easy to open. Nangong Lai, we 4 immortals only came to assist young Master Lin. How could you know how powerful young master is? She spoke up for Lin Yu. She was referring to how Lin Yu helped Xiu Lingshan just now. But when these words landed in Nangong Lai's ears, it had a different meaning. I have a full hour. That Lin Yu is nothing. Nangong Lai scolded. Nangong Qin's face turned red. She did not even dare to breathe loudly, afraid that she would expose herself. Shameless, the 4 immortals said in disdain. Lin Yu looked down at Nangong Lai. How about a one-on-one? Nangong Lai's face twitched. This trick again. Lin Yu had even scared Jianshan back then. The current Nangong Lai, of course, did not dare to accept this. It's useless. She laughed. The laughter of the 4 immortals could be heard. Nangong Lai even had the heart to die. Didn't you say that I was hiding behind a woman? Lin Yu took a step forward and hooked his finger. Now that I'm out, do you want to fight? Nangong Lai. Lin Yu, individual strength does not mean anything. The 4 immortals laughed again. In this world where the strong were respected, Nangong Lai was angered by Lin Yu to the point that he said such stupid words. How could they not despise him? Hee, it's quite lively here. Suddenly, the 4th warship appeared outside the temple. This warship was different from the others. It was a huge flood dragon. The flood dragon was like a boat. It had 6 wings and 3 pairs of wings. The one who spoke was a man on the front wing. Those are people from the Imperial Beast tribe. Xiu explained behind Lin Yu. Lin Yu nodded. Although he already knew these people, it did not stop him from enjoying Shiyu's fragrance, especially Nangong Lai's jealous gaze. This made Lin Yu feel that it was interesting. Beihan Feng, I didn't expect the temple to invite you. On the warship of the southern wilderness, Wu Tsang laughed. Isn't this the young master of the southern wilderness? How is it? Did you succeed your father? Chapter 141. The person who spoke looked like a young master, wearing a coat made of beast fur. It was the current young master of the Imperial Beast clan, Beihan Feng. Wu Tsang's rough face darkened. If I succeed, do I still need to play with you small fries? Haha, since Brother Wu can't get the position, then play for a few more years. Beihan Feng sneered and turned to look at the wind and moon immortals. His eyes lit up. The 4 fairies appeared together. This Buddha hall actually has so much face? Su Feng and the others nodded casually and didn't answer Beihan Feng. The wind and moon immortals had always been arrogant, so Beihan Feng didn't care. But his gaze immediately fell on Lin Yu. What right did this kid have to be surrounded by the wind and moon immortals? This was very infuriating. This is? Nangong Lai saw this and provoked. Beihan Feng, you're getting stupider as you age. Young Master Nangong, what do you mean? Nangong Lai smiled. This is Lin Yu, whose name shook the southern land. You actually don't know him? Lin Yu? Never heard of him. Beihan Feng glanced at Lin Yu. Are you very powerful? He was naturally lying. After the 3 battles of the Wind and Moon Meet, the Sword Clan, and the Medicine Clan, Lin Yu had already become the most famous person in the southern land recently. What? I'm asking you a question. Are you mute? Beihan Feng was a little unhappy with Lin Yu's attitude. He ignored him. Young Master Lin is my Wind Moon clan's representative this time. Young Master Bei, please be careful. Please be careful, Qiu Lingshan said. She was very unhappy with Bei Hanfeng's smug look in front of Lin Yu. Since the book Immortal has spoken, I'll give Lin Yu some face. Bei Hanfeng retracted his gaze and muttered, so it's a trash hiding behind a woman. Shut up. Qiu Lingshan was a little angry. She raised her right hand, and a jade pen appeared in her hand. She wrote the word kill in the air and shot it toward Bei Hanfeng. Interesting. Let me try out the Book Immortal's abilities. Bei Hanfeng also didn't expect that Qiu Lingshan would actually help Lin Yu. He took a step forward, and a huge phantom behind him let out a furious roar. It was the image of a lion stepping on flames. As soon as it appeared, it was like a real demon beast, and it directly roared towards Qiu Lingshan. Behind Bei Hanfeng, the dozens of people from the Beast Tamer clan also sneered. Young Master's flaming lion roar is getting more and more powerful. The word kill clashed with the flaming lion roar. Qiu Lingshan was in the Four Suns transcendent realm, but so was Bei Hanfeng. Qiu Lingshan, who was originally evenly matched, suddenly felt a sense of weakness. Oh no, my little sister hasn't recovered yet. After changing the golden hook and silver stroke, Qiu Lingshan had also lost some of her primordial qi. At this moment, the flaming lion roar had shattered the word kill. A look of excitement appeared on Bei Hanfeng's face. He took a step forward and rapidly approached Qiu Lingshan. Qiu Lingshan had a bad feeling. The moment she retreated, Bei Hanfeng's right hand formed a claw, and a tiger claw phantom that was 10 feet long instantly smashed down on Qiu Lingshan's head. The other three immortals' hearts tightened. Just as they were about to help Qiu Lingshan, they saw a figure that was faster than them. With a whoosh, he appeared beside Qiu Lingshan. That person raised his hand, and the three elements in one realm gathered in his hand. His 5 fingers directly formed a claw above his head. The tiger claw phantom fell, but it seemed to be tightly held by Lin Yu's hand. It couldn't move an inch further. What? Bei Hanfeng's eyes widened. He was surprised that Lin Yu could actually withstand his move. But when he wanted to change his move, he felt a sharp pain in his right hand. The tiger claw was forcefully pulled down by Lin Yu. The moment the tiger claw phantom shattered, his right hand was also severely injured. Hug me. After Lin Yu finished speaking in a low voice, Qiu Lingshan instinctively hugged Lin Yu's muscular waist. Suddenly, she heard a gust of wind, and Lin Yu instantly appeared in front of Bei Hanfeng with her in his arms. Bei Hanfeng sucked in a breath of cold air. He switched to his left hand, but Lin Yu caught him again. Crack! Damn it! Bei Hanfeng cried out in pain. He was half kneeling on the ground. Lin Yu had broken the fingers on his left hand. Don't you want to be human anymore after playing with beasts for so long? Lin Yu hugged Qiu Lingshan with one hand and exerted force with the other. Bei Hanfeng cried out in pain again. Don't. Only now did he see the person in the limelight in the south. Stop! Let go of our young master. The beast tamers were about to rush forward, but the three immortals had already blocked Lin Yu's path. It's okay, let them come. Lin Yu smirked, and Bei Hanfeng cried out in heart-wrenching pain again. I'm asking you a question. Are you mute? Lin Yu looked down at Bei Hanfeng. I want to be human, Bei Hanfeng instantly understood Lin Yu's meaning. He gritted his teeth, thinking that he could endure it. However, after 2 breaths, he begged for mercy. I don't want to be human. Louder. I don't want to be human. Lin Yu could not be bothered with such a small fry. He kicked Bei Hanfeng back to the beast tamer's flying beast, and he spat out another mouthful of blood. The beast tamers will remember this. The other beast tamers warned. However, they did not dare to attack Lin Yu again. On the other side, Wu Tsang and Nan Gonglai looked at Lin Yu with fear. This kid is strong. He looks like he's only at the Samsara realm, but his combat strength is definitely higher. He can take Bei Hanfeng's attack with one hand and even injure him. This is not the combat strength of a Samsara realm cultivator. When Lin Yu returned to the warship, Shi Yu and the others smiled. There are always people who want to be slapped by young master. It seems that many people still don't believe that Jian Shun was defeated by young master. Lin Yu shrugged. He was too lazy to think about the dead Jian Shun. At this moment, a thunderous voice came from the temple. "Esteemed guests have arrived. Please come in." As soon as the voice fell, the door did not open. These bald donkeys love to put on airs. Wutsang snorted and stepped in front of the door. He struck out with his palm. The palm hit the golden door, and there was a loud echo. Wutsang's eyes widened, and he took a few steps back to the warship. At the same time, his face turned red. It was obvious that he was injured by the impact. What is the meaning of this? The thunderous voice came again. The hidden ape convention is related to the unresolvable demonic beast. Please show your Buddha nature. If your Buddha nature is not pure, please leave. The four races frowned. A bunch of bald donkeys. You asked us to help, but you still make things difficult for us? Nangong Lai scolded. He wanted to open the door, but he ended up like Wu Tsang. Damn it. How do we get in? In the Wind-Moon race, Shiyu's face changed. Young master, the race leader taught us some Buddhist principles. Go. Lin Yu could see that she was eager to try. She stepped in the air and appeared outside the golden door. She sat down cross-legged in the air. What is this zither fairy doing? The Wind-Moon race has a close relationship with the temple. Perhaps they know a way to break it. Soon, a golden Buddhist light flowed out of Shiyu's body and merged into the golden door as if it was guided by it. The golden door immediately began to emit a cracking sound. Chapter 142. Everyone was astonished. It's open. No, it's almost there. She frowned, stood up, and sighed softly. The golden door only opened a small gap, but it didn't open any further. Even a person couldn't pass through such a small gap. Young master, Shiyu looked apologetic. It's okay. You already know a little about Buddhism at such a young age. You have a promising future. Shiyu blinked. For some reason, Lin Yu was younger than her. But when he spoke, he sounded like an old man. And now he was praising a junior like an elder. This made Shiyu feel very strange. But Shiyu couldn't help but feel excited and grateful. Thank you, young master. Lin Yu looked around. The people of the four clans had a lot to say just now, but now they were all motionless. Forget it. Lin Yu knew that he was going to violate his principle of keeping a low profile again. He stepped out and appeared outside the golden door. It's him again. Nangong Lai sneered. Does he think that everyone has Buddhism? Brother Lai, don't worry about him. Lin Yu's combat power is terrifying, but Buddhism is an illusory thing that those old bald donkeys in the Buddha Hall said. He can't have it. Beihan Feng and the others were also waiting for Lin Yu to embarrass himself and avenge his broken finger. On the Southern Mang Wasteland warship, Wu Tsang ordered a few followers behind him. Prepare the warship to crash into it. This golden door can't be opened. Lin Yu stood outside the golden door, blinked, and pressed one hand on the door. His fingers exerted force. Suddenly, rumble. How is it possible? The people of the four clans, including the Wind and Moon Immortals, couldn't help but open their mouths, because they saw that the golden door was easily opened at this moment. The golden door that was dozens of feet high opened just like that, revealing the dazzling Buddhist light in the Buddha Hall and illuminating the people of the four clans at the same time. They were sure that their eyes weren't playing tricks on them. How did Lin Yu do it? Is he from the Buddha Hall? Impossible. The four immortals came back to their senses and immediately boarded the warship to enter the Golden Gate. The people from the other three clans were shocked. Nangong Lai immediately shouted, "Wait." The four immortals frowned and turned around, only to see Nangong Lai's warship speeding through the Golden Gate, blocking their path. This time around, the subduing ape conclave was an invitation from the 8 major clans. We are all members of the 8 major clans, but Lin Yu is not. Nangong Lai grasped this weakness and bowed to the Beast Tamer clan and the Southern Barbarian clan. Please come in. Then the flying beast of the Beast Tamer clan and the warship of the Southern Barbarian clan bypassed the warship of the Wind Moon clan and entered the Golden Gate. Nangong Lai, the Golden Gate was opened by young master. Can you be any more shameless? Su Feng said furiously. If she had known that this guy was so annoying, she would have found a chance to kill him at the Wind Moon Conclave. Nangong Lai bowed to Su Feng. Painted fairy, please calm down. But you and I are members of the 8 major clans. Naturally, We have to protect the rights of the 8 major clans. The Buddha Hall invited the 8 major clans. Today, whoever lets Lin Yu in will be going against our 3 major clans. He looked at Wu Tsang and Beihan Feng at the same time. What do the 2 young masters think? I agree. Whoever lets Lin Yu in will be going against our 3 major clans. Beihan Feng naturally did not hesitate. Now, he hated Lin Yu to the core. If Lin Yu had been gentler, he would have only embarrassed Lin Yu. But now, Lin Yu had broken the bones in his left hand. Although his left hand was bandaged, he already saw Lin Yu as a target to kill. In the direction of the southern wilderness, Wu Tsang also nodded. I have no objections. Those who are not from 8 major clans, scram. Although he did not have any conflict with Lin Yu, but he was jealous that Lin Yu was surrounded by 4 beautiful women. This was a kind of jealousy from a single dog. Lin Yu blinked, thinking that these few people were troublesome. But obviously, it will be troublesome to make a move directly. He was about to take out the Sword Clan token from his storage ring, wanting to pretend to be an elder of the Sword Clan again. She pulled Lin Yu's hand softly. Young master, this is a temporary measure. Watch me. When Lin Yu had a bad premonition, Shiyu had already taken a step forward. Everyone, young Master Lin has already married into our Wind Moon clan. Of course, he is part of our Wind Moon clan. Married into our clan. As soon as he said this, everyone was shocked. Even Lin Yu could not help but spit out a mouthful of salt soda. The Wind Moon clan has always only accepted female disciples. Do you think I am stupid? Nangong Lai questioned. Shiyu's face darkened. Young Master Nangong's ears need to be fixed. I am not talking about joining the clan, but marrying into our clan. Of course, she had thought of this. Nangong Lai's heart tightened, and he scolded. Marrying into our clan? Where did that brat come from? It has only been a few days. Which of your Wind Moon clan's women would be willing to marry him? Me, Shiyu immediately said. She was the one who thought of this rotten idea. Of course, she had an excuse. Me too. Suddenly, Su Feng also stood out. Qiu Lingshan and Tian Xin saw this and did not mind the chaos. Us too. Marrying 4 at once. Nangong Lai suddenly felt that his cultivation was unstable. He took a few steps back and almost fell off the warship. Wu Tsang and Beihan Feng also looked like they were heartbroken. The Wind Moon Immortals married the same man? No. Lin Yu is the son-in-law of an adopted wife, and he married 4 women at once. I am afraid this will become the most shocking thing in the Southern Land. This is the most powerful son-in-law in the history of the Southern Land. Lin Yu was speechless. Wasn't this taking advantage of him? Can we go in now? Shiyu said coldly. The warship entered the golden door of the Buddhist temple. Nangong Lai and the others could not find an excuse to stop them. It was more because of the news of the 4 immortals marrying into the clan. His goddess, Zither Fairy Shiyu, was with Lin Yu just like that, inside the golden door of the Buddhist temple. Young master, this is just a temporary measure. We will refute the rumors later. Seeing Lin Yu nod helplessly, Shiyu changed the topic. Young master, how did you open the golden door? She had tried it just now and knew how difficult it was to open the stone door. Even though she tried her best to comprehend the Buddhist nature, she could only open a crack. However, Lin Yu did not even meditate, nor did any Buddhist light appear. He easily opened the stone door. I just opened it casually. Lin Yu explained casually. The so-called Buddhist nature was actually the Tao heart. It was the determination of oneself during cultivation. It included confidence, perseverance, talent, and so on. Lin Yu knew that he could not explain all of this to them in a short time. What he wanted to do now was to see the thousands of Buddhist temples that had already come into view. This was where one of the 8 clans of the Southern Land, the Buddhist temple, was located. At the center of these Buddhist temples, everyone saw the legendary staff. That was naturally the cosmic destruction staff. At this moment, the staff was incomparably huge. It reached into the air and was deeply inserted in front of the largest Buddhist temple of the Buddhist temple. The 4 clans quickly approached. A white-bearded monk appeared and put his palms together. Welcome, prodigies of the 8 clans. He looked at them kindly. I am truly shocked that you were able to solve the mystery of the golden door in such a short time. Chapter 143. So it's the Hall Master, Master Ascetic. Nan Gonglai smiled, clasped his fists, and said, Senior Ascetic, may I know the origin of this ape? The ascetic and the 10 monks behind him all shook their heads. This ape appeared a few days ago. It didn't cause much of a commotion, but a disciple of the hall accidentally discovered that the ape actually has the strength of the unyielding stage. This is a matter of great importance. An unyielding stage monster has never appeared in the southern border, so I invited everyone to study together on how to subdue the ape. Nangong Lai smiled in his heart. He thought that this bald donkey was avoiding the important and dwelling on the trivial. Since he couldn't take down the ape, he should just admit it openly. Why did he have to keep them in suspense and study together? Since that's the case, this treasure belongs to the one who can obtain it, and so does the ape. Nangong Lai said. The ascetic monk nodded. Everyone, this beast has appeared in my temple. Therefore, the temple will be bold enough to set 2 rules. First, there will be a fair competition between all clans. Whoever can obediently take the ape away will be the one to take it away. Second, this staff is at least at the level of a sacred tool. Beihan Feng was a little unhappy and retorted, Master Ascetic, this beast doesn't belong to the hall. Why do you have so many rules? The ascetic smiled. These are the rules set by the Buddha Emperor. As soon as he said this, everyone was shocked. The Buddha Emperor hasn't appeared for more than 30 years, and this subdue ape meeting was set by him. I don't know if it's true or not, but the hall is only one of the 8 clans, and the Buddha Emperor might not be here. The ascetic didn't explain further. Everyone, let's begin. The winner can meet the Buddha Emperor. Then I'll go first. Wu Tsong took a step in the air and flew to the top of the Nirvana heaven and earth staff. He saw an ape the size of a 3-year-old sleeping. This little thing is an unyielding stage monster? Wu Tsong sneered in his heart and stepped onto the Nirvana universe staff quietly. Suddenly, an icy aura enveloped his whole body. What? He saw that the ape was still sleeping, but he felt a sense of danger. In the next moment, a rebounding force appeared from the Nirvana universe staff and directly shook Wu Tsong away. Pooh! Wu Tsong landed on the ground and immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. With my 4 sons' transcendent realm cultivation, I can't even go up the rod. Wu Tsong's eyes widened in disbelief. When the others saw this, on one hand, they were gloating a little. On the other hand, they also felt that subduing the ape was indeed not as easy as they had imagined. Otherwise, the Buddhist hall would have done it themselves. Young master, we shouldn't be able to go up either. Shiyu said softly. The recoil force on the stick doesn't seem to come from the ape. That's the light of protection. It comes with the staff. Lin Yu said calmly. The 4 immortals also agreed. At this moment, a faint scarlet light could be seen flowing on the staff. Especially where the ape was, the light formed a light screen that blocked everything from the outside world. We can't go in. We can only lure them out. Nangong Lai judged. Although these people had repeatedly suffered at the hands of Lin Yu, they were still able to become outstanding talents of the southern border's younger generation. They also had some ability. Nangong Lai is right. Wu Tsong frowned and agreed. He gritted his teeth and went up again. This time, he didn't rashly step into the staff. Instead, he cupped his fists across the light screen. I am Wu Tsong of the southern wilderness. Are you willing to follow me? It was like playing the lute to a cow. The little monkey was still sleeping. Wu Tsong waited for a long time and said a few words, but he didn't get any response from the little monkey. The way of taming beasts still depends on us, the beast-taming tribe. Beihan Feng smiled disdainfully and said, Bei Mu, bring up the things I have prepared. After saying that, a few followers behind him took out a large piece of meat from their storage rings. The meat emitted a bloody smell. It was the size of a person. No one knew what kind of beast it was. Beihan Feng took out a brocade box and poured the powder inside on the meat. In an instant, the bloody smell of the meat was covered and replaced by a strange fragrance. At the same time, the little monkey's nose twitched and he opened his eyes. He looked down from the Chinquin's staff and saw the piece of meat at first glance. But soon, the little monkey's eyes became excited, because he saw Lin Yu again. But he saw Lin Yu shake his head gently. The little monkey understood and didn't recognize Lin Yu. At the same time, Beihan Feng waved to the little monkey. Come and eat." The little monkey didn't hesitate and instantly stepped down. It was so fast that everyone's heart skipped a beat. It's not an ordinary invincible stage. Everyone was sure that this ape was not only in the invincible stage, but also in the 3-een stage. The sound of biting was heard. The little monkey had already begun to eat the meat. Beihan Feng smiled proudly. Since this beast has made a choice, then the beast-taming tribe will reluctantly take it. Seeing Beihan Feng's smug look, everyone was a little disdainful. But they couldn't help but look at him with envy. I didn't expect a piece of meat to be subdued. A beast is a beast. Wu Cong and Nangong Lai frowned. If the beast-taming tribe really controlled this ape, wouldn't it have the combat strength of the invincible stage? Congratulations, Brother Bei. Nangong Lai cupped his fists and smiled, immediately starting to build a relationship. The other half of Wu Cong was unwilling, but there was nothing he could do. Who knew what Beihan Feng did on that piece of beast meat? The ape was eating happily at the moment. The beast-taming tribe does have a way. Wu Cong also smiled casually. However, Beihan Feng replied, "When I visit the southern wilderness in the future, I will bring this monkey for Brother Wu to play and let Brother Wu have fun." He was obviously mocking Wu Cong's situation just now. Wu Cong couldn't be bothered. His gaze fell on the Nirvana Universe staff. Beasts are difficult to control, but this sacred tool still depends on real ability. Wu Cong was also secretly mocking Beihan Feng for being opportunistic. After saying that, he took a step forward. The clothes on his upper body suddenly burst open, revealing his sturdy combat body. Nangong Lai, Beihan Feng, and the others all frowned. Wu Cong's combat body has probably reached the transcendent realm. The southern wilderness mainly cultivates the combat body. His glory energy realm isn't that great, but his combat body shouldn't be underestimated. Qiyu and Su Feng's tone were a little shocked. Qiu Lingshan asked Lin Yu, "Master, can he move that sacred tool? If Wu Cong's combat body can't move it, then none of us here can." Tian Xin said first. Lin Yu smiled. Guess why the temple only invited the 4 clans? The 4 fairies thought for a while. Qiyu answered first. Could it be because the 4 clans have their own abilities, and they can use different methods to deal with the ape and the sacred tool? Lin Yu nodded. Su Feng clapped her hands. I understand. The beast-taming tribe has a way to deal with beasts. The southern wilderness has an amazing combat body. It's very likely that they can pull out the sacred tool. Tian Xin added, the Nangong tribe is good at array techniques. If the 2 clans didn't succeed, then array techniques can also be tried. Qiu Lingshan blinked. What about us? Chapter 144. The 3 immortals were stunned. The wind and moon, 5 absolutes, didn't seem to have any effect on demon beasts and sacred weapons, right? Lin Yu couldn't help but laugh. Maybe the temple wants you to seduce that ape. Young master is so naughty. That's right, the temple's eminent monks are all empty. Young master, you think so? Listening to Su Feng and Shiyu's rebuke, Lin Yu shrugged helplessly. He wasn't joking. Wu Cong was already standing beside the Nirvana Universe Rod. Everyone was waiting to see. Wu Cong's tyrannical battle aura was enough to crush everyone's battle aura. But Lin Yu only cared about chatting with the 4 immortals. This was because he wanted to ease the tension of the tragedy that was about to happen. Lingshan, how do you feel on your back? Qiu Lingshan didn't understand why Lin Yu suddenly asked this. Thinking of what happened with Lin Yu before, her pretty face immediately turned red. Much better, young Master Lin. Will it relapse later? Lin Yu touched his chin. Maybe. I'll give you a follow-up later. Qiu Lingshan's heart tightened. Su Feng glanced at her. Lingshan, don't be afraid of pain. You must recover. She subconsciously thought that Qiu Lingshan's voice when she was being treated was because of pain. But Qiu Lingshan pursed her lips, thinking that it wasn't pain. Okay, whenever young master has time, call me. Lin Yu nodded. Suddenly, a mournful voice came from the Nirvana rod. Lin Yu knew that Wu's song had failed. In this world, only he and the little monkey were the masters of the Nirvana rod. When the others touched the Nirvana rod, there was only one outcome. This Wu's song. Two people from the southern wilderness rushed up. But when they touched Wu's song's withered hand, they felt a terrifying, bloodthirsty force. Damn it, this thing is bloodthirsty. The two people wanted to withdraw their hands, but the blood in their hands had already been sucked dry. In an instant, arms, shoulders, and then spread to the whole body. Under the bloodthirsty force, including Wu's song, the three people from the southern wilderness all turned into dried corpses. This, Buddhist Hall. The others from the southern wilderness pointed at the ascetic monk. Damn bald donkey, this thing is bloodthirsty. Why didn't you tell us? The ascetic monk immediately shook his head. Benefactor, this old monk doesn't know either. Excellent, excellent. The people of the southern wilderness gnashed their teeth. They had lost 3 experts in one go. One of them was even their young master. This business was a huge loss. The Buddhist hall is truly sinister. Nangonglai looked at Wu Song's corpse. Then, he glanced at the people in the temple. He was well aware of this. Was this the reason why the Buddhist hall had invited them here? Because they couldn't handle the heaven and earth staff? Brother Lai, will our mountain shifting array work? Nangong Chin asked. Nangonglai nodded. No matter how heavy it is, as long as we have the mountain shifting array, we can take it away. He took a step forward. He was too lazy to look at Wu Song's corpse. Even the people of the southern wilderness did not dare to come forward to collect the corpses of Wu Song and the other 2. He was afraid that this terrifying rod would suck his chi and blood dry. Nangong Lai from the Nangong clan, come up and try. After saying that, he formed a seal with both hands. Behind him, Nangong Chin also came up to help. The 2 of them, one in front and one behind, half knelt on the ground at the same time. In an instant, complex patterns spread out from the palms of the 2, directly forming a formation, surrounding the heaven and earth staff. The formation speed is very fast. This Nangong Lai is also deeply taught by his father, Nangong Yen. The ascetic monk narrowed his eyes and whispered. In the next moment, the earth trembled and a terrifying suction force appeared from the formation. In an instant, everyone saw the huge heaven and earth staff as if it had fallen into the sea. In the Wind Moon clan, Shiyu said worriedly, Young master, can Nangong Lai succeed? Lin Yu nodded. The mountain shifting array can take away the heaven and earth staff. Hearing this, the 4 immortals' hearts tightened. Then we didn't come in vain this time. That's right, without subduing the ape, we can't even get the sacred weapon. Lin Yu couldn't help but laugh. Then you can try to flirt with that monkey. Maybe it will take a fancy to you. The 4 girls blushed. Young Master Lin is joking again. Forget it, the patriarch also told us that this trip is important to participate. Tian Xen, and Su Feng said one after another. At this moment, 1/3 of the heaven and earth staff had been sucked into the mountain shifting array. Nangong Lai and the others smiled proudly. Chin, work harder. Okay. Seeing this, the people of the southern wilderness knew that they had no chance and began to retreat from the temple. However, Beihan Feng couldn't help but laugh when he got the invincible realm beast. Why? Are you in a hurry to go back for the funeral? The people of the southern wilderness sneered with a gloomy face. You'd better be careful with your words, Beihan Feng. Hey, the young master is dead. You don't even know if you can survive when you go back, and you still dare to show off to me? At least I'm better than a piece of trash like you whose finger was broken by Lin Yu with one hand. You. Beihan Feng seemed to have been hit by the southern wilderness, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. Lin Yu? He looked in the direction of the Wind Moon clan. Lin Yu was still flirting with girls. Damn it. The Wind Moon immortals were laughing, but he could only get a monkey. Beihan Feng suddenly thought of something. He had the invincible realm monkey. Why would he be afraid of Lin Yu, who was only in the Samsara realm? No matter how powerful Lin Yu was, he could at most fight with him, a transcendent realm. However, if he met someone in the invincible realm, he would only be crushed. Baby monkey, are you full? Beihan Feng stroked the little monkey's fur, but the little monkey roared at him. Beihan Feng was so scared that he retracted his hand and was almost bitten. Come, bring a few more pieces of meat. It must be because it didn't eat enough. Beihan Feng comforted himself. Wait a little longer. When this beast is obedient, the first to be killed will be Lin Yu. Another half an hour passed. The Qinquan staff had completely integrated into the mountain-moving array. Nangong Lai was overjoyed. Everyone, it seems that the hidden ape gathering is over. Nangong Lai will take his leave. I didn't expect Nangong Lai to take away the treasure just like that. She was a little unwilling. However, she felt that Lin Yu was a little strange. During the Wind-Moon gathering, this guy snatched away all the treasures in one go. Why was he so kind today? He didn't even make a move from the beginning to the end. The monks in the hall looked at each other and nodded. It's a good thing that such a ferocious item can fall into the hands of the Nangong clan. The monk smiled and put his palms together. I hope young clan master Nangong can make good use of this item. His words were also a warning. After all, the Qinquan staff was too ferocious. Of course, Nangong Lai threw a storage ring into the mountain-moving array. The mountain-moving array slowly shrunk and integrated into the storage ring. The extinguishing Qinquan staff naturally followed into the storage ring. From the beginning to the end, Nangong Lai didn't touch the Qinquan staff with his own hands. Wu Cang's corpse was still on the ground, reminding him of the horror of the staff. Then the Nangong clan will take their leave. Just as he was about to salute, he saw the little monkey turn around and gnash its teeth. Nangong Lai jumped in fright. Beihan Feng, keep your beast in check. He also believed that Beihan Feng had subdued the little monkey. Chapter 145. This stick belongs to him. What can I do? Beihan Feng shrugged. He suddenly thought of something and whispered to the monkey, Go and take back what's yours. He believed that the monkey would listen to him, but the little monkey didn't move. It turned to look at Lin Yu. It was waiting for Lin Yu's order. You're really my good baby. Beihan Feng was overjoyed. Everyone was confused, but someone from the Beast Tamer tribe stood up and explained, This beast is intelligent. It seems that it wants to take revenge because our young master was injured. Hearing this, the four immortals were worried about Lin Yu. They stood in front of him. Beihan Feng, control your beast. Don't mess around. Shi Yu warned, but there was still some uneasiness in her voice. That was an invincible realm beast. If it really wanted to take revenge on Lin Yu for Beihan Feng, the four of them together might not be able to handle it. Beihan Feng heard these people's words. He felt that he and the little monkey didn't seem to have improved their relationship. But this didn't stop him from showing off. I can't say for sure. After all, I can't control the beast to protect its master. He smiled faintly. He glanced at the little monkey. If you want to kill Lin Yu, I won't stop you. Seeing that Beihan Feng was deliberately misleading the little monkey, Shi Yu and the other immortals were furious. Mr. Lin, let's go first. Yeah, the situation is not right. Tian Xian, and Qiu Lingshan also looked serious. They pulled Lin Yu and prepared to retreat. All of a sudden, the little monkey's figure disappeared from the spot. When it reappeared, it was already in front of Lin Yu. Everyone's expression changed. It's over. Lin Yu is doomed. This beast is intelligent. It knows how to take revenge for Beihan Feng so quickly. Look at how cocky that brat Lin Yu is. Not only did he marry 4 fairies, I heard that even Xia Bing of the Yao clan and the new young master of the Sword clan, Jin Shi'er, are related to him. Mother *Ker, all the prettiest girls have been taken by him, and the rest of them are too horrible to look at. Young Master Bei, quick, let the beast kill Lin Yu. For a moment, Lin Yu's face twitched. He was such a low-key man. Who had he offended? The world is so unfair. Lin Yu shook his head in self-mockery. The 4 fairies also had apologetic looks on their faces. We have harmed young master. They hate young Master Lin so much because of us. The little monkey got closer and closer, and its figure shifted again. It actually bypassed the four fairies and appeared beside Lin Yu's feet. So fast. Young master, be careful. The four fairies felt a sense of crisis. Beihan Feng, on the other hand, was very excited. Even Nangong Lai, who couldn't lift the storage ring, looked at Lin Yu as if he was looking at a dead man. You stole my Shiyu. Serves you right. He tried to lift the storage ring, but he still couldn't lift it. Damn it. Is the rod's weight attached to the storage ring? Just when everyone thought that Lin Yu would be violently beaten up by the invincible state demon beast, they saw that the ape that frightened them was actually rubbing against Lin Yu's feet. What? The four fairies turned around. Shiyu's eyes widened. What's going on? Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Su Feng also rubbed her eyes. Everyone saw the little monkey running around Lin Yu's feet like a child, as if it was beside its father. My crotch won't do. Oh. Lin Yu bent down and gritted his teeth. Idiot, you bumped into my little brother. Hearing Lin Yu's scolding, the little monkey's excited movements finally stopped. He lowered his head and lay in front of Lin Yu. Lin Yu sighed softly and patted his head. It's okay. Your head is hard, but mine isn't. The four fairies heard this from close range and flushed. Young master, this beast, Shiyu came to her senses and asked. But before Lin Yu could answer, the other side exploded. Damn it, stupid monkey. I wasted so much top-grade beast meat. Get back here. The person who spoke was none other than the exasperated Beihan Feng. Now, he felt like the pig he'd raised for years had been eaten. The others were still laughing at him. So, it's not looking for Lin Yu for revenge, but a new master? Isn't the Beast Tamer clan good at dealing with beasts? Looks like they're just undeserving of their reputation. The people of the four clans were discussing. Beihan Feng gritted his teeth, took 3 steps forward, and pointed at Lin Yu. What demonic technique did you use to trick my beast? He remembered that when he wanted to touch the monkey's fur, the monkey resisted. But now, the monkey was obediently standing beside Lin Yu. Crack, crack. The little monkey jumped around. You mean, you're going to help me clear all the obstacles? After Lin Yu asked, the little monkey immediately nodded. The four fairies suddenly understood something. Could it be that young master is the master of this invincible state beast? My goodness, no wonder young master didn't do anything. Shiyu and Su Feng were shocked at the same time. They were the oldest among the four fairies and had the widest experience. Plus, they knew Lin Yu from the brothel, so they finally understood why Lin Yu had been so low-key. Lin Yu patted the little monkey's head. Then go, just don't go too far. As soon as he said that, Beihan Feng had a bad feeling. But the first to feel it was Nangong Lai. What's going on? He hadn't picked up the storage ring on the ground, but it suddenly started to vibrate. Crack! The storage ring shattered, and a shock wave swept out, hitting Nangong Lai squarely in the chest. Damn it, Puff! Nangong Lai spat out a mouthful of blood, and the clothes on his back were directly shattered, and his entire chest caved in. In front of him, a huge scarlet rod shot up into the sky. The little monkey slowly stepped into the air, looking down at the Beast Tamer tribe and Nangong clan. He raised his right hand, and the Chinquin rod instantly spun in the air and finally shot directly into his hand. Formed the 36 Dipper formation. At the entrance of the main hall, the monk immediately ordered, "Block it! Don't let that beast attack in." He wasn't prepared to help the Beast Tamer tribe and Nangong clan, but chose to protect his main hall first. Ba, you, what are you trying to do? I'm your master. Beihan Feng was already kneeling on the ground, begging for mercy. Now, the little monkey's entire body was covered in cold and murderous aura, and with the bloodthirsty rod in his hand, it was too terrifying. But it would have been better if he didn't say that. Once he said that, it was as if he was humiliating the little monkey. In an instant, the little monkey raised the Chinquin rod. Lin Yu, control your beast. The Beast Tamer tribe roared angrily. Lin Yu shrugged. The beast is protecting its master. I can't control it. This sentence was especially harsh in the ears of the Beast Tamer tribe. Wasn't that what Beihan Feng said just now? Chapter 146. As Lin Yu's voice rang out, The gigantic, annihilating heaven and earth staff came crashing down from the sky. The dozens of beast tamers felt their vision go dark. At this moment, the gigantic WYRM flew over, but the little monkey did not even look at it. The heaven and earth staff looked huge and heavy, but in his hands, it was extremely nimble. In the blink of an eye, the staff changed from a slash to a sweep, and the beast tamer was sent flying. The WYRM shrunk, as if it had been knocked out of the temple's golden door. What kind of power is this? The beast tamers fled in all directions, but the heaven and earth staff was already upon them. Kaboom! The ground cracked, and the unyielding cold chi shockwave spread out. More than 10 beast tamers were instantly turned into ice sculptures. Beihan Feng's gaze sharpened. He grabbed 2 of his followers and threw them behind him. At the same time, he retreated to the side, bit his finger, and channeled all his cultivation methods. In an instant, Beihan Feng sped up and rushed out of the temple's golden door. This was a chance of survival at the cost of burning his cultivation base. The rest of the beast tamers, including the 2 that Beihan Feng used to block the attack, were all turned into ice shards. 7 shades, unyielding. There's no mistaking it. This demon is even stronger than the 8 tribe leaders. The Nangong tribe fled in all directions. Nangong Lai fell to the ground, only to find that all the people he brought were gone. No one was willing to save him at this moment, including Nangong Qin. Bitch, Nangong Lai was very unwilling. He only saw the sky darken, and the shadow of a staff covered the sky. Don't kill me. Nangong Lai's pants were wet as he screamed desperately, but the staff showed no signs of stopping, until a voice, "Wait," came. The staff suddenly stopped. The ground around Nangong Lai cracked under the heaven and earth staff's powerful pressure. Fortunately, Nangong Lai only suffered some superficial injuries. Of course, the injuries from the heaven and earth staff breaking through his storage ring were enough to make him unable to stand up. Lin Yu walked over slowly. He held dozens of storage rings in his hands. They were all the belongings of the dead beast tamers. Lin Yu made a rough estimate. Adding on the Sword Tribe Elder's heroic act of helping others, Lin Yu felt that it was too much. He just happened to have 20 billion Yaobat. These glory bats had been his greatest trump card when the god-killing array had been formed. There were also countless weapons, spirit tools, medicinal herbs, and cultivation techniques. Lin Yu didn't even count them. "Do you have a handkerchief?" Lin Yu said to Shi Yu behind him. Shi Yu was stunned. She didn't know why Lin Yu would suddenly ask such a question. However, she still took out a warm handkerchief from her bosom. Lin Yu took it and wiped his hands. However, this scene fell into the hands of Nangong Lai. His whole body trembled even more violently. This person is so terrifying. From defeating Jianshun in the Wind and Moon Union to now possessing a terrifying demonic beast like the invincible Sevenine realm. And now, Lin Yu was coldly wiping the bloodstains on his hands. It was obviously stained when he picked up the storage ring just now. "Thank you." Lin Yu returned it to Shi Yu. "It's dirty. I'll buy you another one later." Not only Shi Yu, but the 3 immortals also looked at Lin Yu in a daze. He was very calm. So calm that it was as if the deaths on the ground had nothing to do with him. "No, young master, it's fine." Shi Yu took the handkerchief and didn't care about the bloodstains on it. Lin Yu walked to Nangong Lai as if nothing had happened. The latter immediately got up with difficulty. "I was wrong. Please forgive me." After the beast tamers and the southern wilderness left, there were still many people in the temple. They all looked at Nangong Lai in surprise. The young master of the Nangong tribe, the future leader, was actually afraid of Lin Yu to this extent. "What did you do wrong?" Lin Yu smiled faintly. "I was wrong. I shouldn't have been against you. I shouldn't have been jealous of you." Nangong Lai kept kowtowing. In his heart, Lin Yu was already the most terrifying person in the world. "Then I'll marry 4 wives. Do you have any objections?" Nangong Lai immediately shook his head. "No objections. Absolutely not." The 4 immortals came back to their senses. They were all scolding Lin Yu for being so boring. Wasn't he already in the temple and still thinking about that expedient plan? Enough. Lin Yu looked at the little monkey beside him. "Tie him up with that chain." It'll be useful in the future. Nangong Lai was the only son of the Nangong tribe's leader, Nangong Yen. But in Lin Yu's eyes, he wasn't a son. He was a shining white Yao Shu. Lin Yu no longer cared about the battle here. He turned to look at the ascetic monk and the others. Let's go. I'm not interested in your temple. Lin Yu glanced at the 36 Big Dipper monks. They were still in their positions, but their legs were weak. Hall master. They wanted to ask the ascetic monk, but they heard Lin Yu shout, if you don't scram, the staff will come. Let's go. Let's go. The ascetic monk swallowed. Ha! Umipa. Since when did the South have such a prodigy? This old monk was wrong. Lin Yu took a few steps forward. Bring me to see the Buddha Emperor. The ascetic monk frowned. This old monk still needs to report this matter. Cut the crap. Lead the way. Lin Yu was a little impatient. He also knew the tricks of the ascetic monk and the others. The so-called report had too many variables. Sir, please wait a moment. The Buddha Emperor has ordered you to wait. The ascetic monk's words became sharp. He finally walked out of the shock and remembered that he still had the Buddha Emperor as his backer. Are you sure you want me to wait? Lin Yu glanced at the ascetic monk and said with a warning tone, Umitba. The ascetic monk shook his head. The Buddha Emperor has ordered. Sir, it's useless to scare this old monk. Although he was also at the 1-in unyielding stage, Lin Yu represented the 7-in unyielding stage. The ascetic monk's eyes were firm and even a little arrogant. Why do you have to force me? Lin Yu sighed. Niu Xiaochun, why? Boom. The ascetic monk's mind seemed to be struck by lightning. You. He turned his eyes and immediately pulled Lin Yu politely. Sir, you're an important guest. How can you discuss matters in such a place? The 36 Big Dipper monks and the 4 fairies were stunned. Why did the ascetic monk's attitude suddenly change 180 degrees? Lin Yu smiled and asked casually, I have a question to ask Master Ku. The Nangong clan is good at array techniques. The Imperial Beast clan is good at controlling beasts, and the Southern Wilderness battle physique is strong. All 3 clans have the ability to touch my precious monkey. The 4 fairies blinked and seemed to have guessed what Lin Yu wanted to ask. As expected, Lin Yu continued, but this Wind Moon clan, I wonder what Master Ku plans to do? After hearing that, the 4 fairies also leaned closer to Lin Yu, wanting to hear the real reason. The ascetic monk smiled helplessly. The Wind Moon clan is full of beautiful fairies. This old monk has also specially checked this powerful monkey of yours. It's a male. Lin Yu nodded, but the 4 fairies almost vomited blood after hearing that. Isn't this the same as what Sir said? Master Ku, as the hall master of the Buddha Hall, how can you be so disrespectful? That's right. I see that you've cultivated Buddhism elsewhere. Annoying. Chapter 147. The 4 fairies took turns scolding him. The monk was embarrassed. If Lin Yu had not called out the name Niu Xiaochun, he would not have been able to answer. He did not want to answer Lin Yu's question. This is not a good place to stay. The monk personally escorted Lin Yu into the hall. You guys clean up the mess. There's no need to follow me. The ascetic monk gave an order. The 4 fairies were furious. They did not want to go in, so they waited outside the hall. Young master, there's no one here. May I ask, how did you know the name Niu Xiaochun? The monk asked softly. He looked left and right, afraid that someone would hear him. Master Ku, Niu Xiaochun is the fake name you use to indulge in debauchery. You should know better than me, right? Lin Yu smiled faintly. This old monk wanted him to drop something. Was he looking for trouble? Sure enough, the monk took a few steps back. You, how did you know? Although you always wear a mask when you go out to play, you're the second in the Tsuehong brothel's endurance ranking. Lin Yu smiled meaningfully. People fear fame just as pigs fear being fat. Niu Xiaochun, no, home master Ku, you should learn to keep a low profile like me. Even with the ascetic monk's willpower and cultivation, his heart was still in turmoil at this moment. Could it be that you're the first in the 4-hour competition? Lin Yu shook his head. Could he tell you that he had taken first place several times in the 100,000 years he was trapped? Of course not. Lin Yu smiled helplessly. Now you should lead the way, right? Seeing that Lin Yu had no intention to answer his question, the monk was embarrassed. The ascetic monk had a difficult expression. "Then, could you keep this a secret for me?" The monk sighed and said helplessly, "We're all men." Lin Yu stood with his hands behind his back. When Master Ku's Buddha nature is higher and you become a true master, you might be able to hold it in, right? Of course, before that, I'll keep it a secret from Master Ku. The monk immediately put his palms together and bowed. Umitba, young master's merit is boundless. In return, Lin Yu pushed the boat along with the current. Then I would like to ask Master Ku to lend a hand to Lin Yu on the day of the southern border's turmoil. Turmoil in the southern border? The ascetic monk's old face turned serious. Young master doesn't seem like someone from the 8 clans. How do you know this? It's just a guess. Grandmaster should know about what happened 33 years ago, right? The ascetic monk took a step back. He was even more shocked than when Lin Yu had exposed him as Niu Xiaochun. Young master, what happened 33 years ago is the Buddha Emperor's secret. Not only do I know about that, but I also know that the Grave-Carrying clan, the Nangang clan, the Beast Tamer clan, and the Southern Barbarian clan have colluded with the initiator of that incident 33 years ago. Young master, this can't be said carelessly. Lin Yu smiled. Little Chun, do you still think that I was randomly killing people? The ascetic monk thought for a moment. Young master, are you trying to intimidate the Beast Tamer clan and the Nangang clan? Yes, and the Southern Barbarian clan. Lin Yu nodded. Little Chun, the Yao clan, the Sword clan, and the Wind Moon clan have already agreed to the alliance. Now it's up to the Buddha Hall. Umitba, the ascetic monk bowed again. This old monk will naturally stand with young master. Lin Yu kept mentioning Shao Chun again and again, which made the ascetic monk's forehead sweat. That's good. Little Chun, lead the way. Okay. The ascetic monk lowered his head and led the way. Soon, they arrived outside a huge palace. This palace was magnificent. Although the door was not as tall as the Buddha Hall's golden door, it was also gilded in gold and shone with Buddhist light. Above the Buddhist light, there was a majestic pressure. The Buddha Emperor is inside. The ascetic monk said softly. It seems that the Buddha Emperor wants to see me too. Young master, you are indeed wise. The Buddha Emperor saw through the Nirvana universe staff long ago, so he is also very curious about how this treasure of the great emperor equal to heaven ended up in the Southern Barbarian clan. The ascetic monk continued. The Buddha Emperor sensed the blood-refining aura on the Nirvana staff and concluded that it has an owner. He guessed that young master will definitely come back to take it away. Lin Yu smiled and said no more. He directly pushed the door open. The ascetic monk's heart tightened. Young master, your Buddhist nature is 100 times stronger than mine. Excellent. With that, he also left with a look of horror. Lin Yu stepped into the palace. It was very large and empty. Lin Yu looked around. There was only one bird on the window of the palace. This bird was bathed in the intersection of sunlight and Buddhist light. Its eyes were closed and its wings were folded like a palm-sized statue. Lin Yu smiled and went to the window. After great sovereign Shumi escaped, the sunlight in the 4 barbarian clans became much brighter. Lin Yu said gently. The bird still didn't move. Lin Yu took a deep breath. The Buddhists always talk about the 4 barbarians, but still got selfish and imprisoned the hero of the imperial era. The bird's body finally trembled. That's my fault, not the Buddhists. The sound of thunder came from all directions, echoing in the palace. An ordinary person would probably have exploded and died under this sound of thunder. Lin Yu smiled and used the purifying power of the nirvana fruit to dissipate all the pressure. The Buddha Emperor is wrong, and so is the Buddhists. Lin Yu spoke again. He gently raised his hand and touched the bird's feathers. The sound of thunder came again. What's wrong with the Buddhists? Lin Yu closed his eyes and also bathed in sunlight. After a long time, he slowly spoke. The Buddhists are wrong. They can't deliver all living beings. The Buddha Emperor cultivated the Buddhists for 1,000 years, but he couldn't overcome his selfishness and divide the Black Dragon Emperor's West world. Lin Yu's voice wasn't loud, but it still echoed in the palace. The sound of thunder came again. All living beings are difficult, but Buddhism is even more difficult. If not, Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva wouldn't have to guard the underworld for 1,000,000 years and wouldn't have achieved the realm of Bodhi by delivering all living beings. Lin Yu heard the other party's rebuttal and smiled again. Why should the Buddhists help all living beings? The Buddhists cultivate the heart and kindness. All living beings have difficulties and hardships. Saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda. Lin Yu shook his head. That's why the Buddhists have 2 faults. The fault is that the 4 barbarians are all barbarians, but they have to deliver all living beings. His voice was very loud this time, as if accompanying Lin Yu's Tao heart. It echoed in every corner of the palace. After a long, long time, the sound of thunder didn't come again. Lin Yu let go of his hand and took a step back. He still bowed respectfully and said, Lin Yu is talking about the Buddhists. I've embarrassed myself in front of the Buddha Emperor. The sparrow opened its eyes and suddenly grew bigger. The bird's head split into 9 and sat in the air above the palace, like a Kuin Peng that covered the sky. He looked down at Lin Yu. The annihilating heaven and earth staff is yours? Yes. Lin Yu didn't hide anything. You were sent by that thing? Lin Yu shook his head. That thing, the Buddha Emperor, should be referring to the heaven-reflecting mirror, right? The sparrow's eyes flashed. The heaven-reflecting mirror already controls half of the south. Is he finally going to act? It's only a matter of time before he acts. Although I'm not from the heaven-reflecting mirror, I know that the Buddha Emperor isn't ready to fight the heaven-reflecting mirror. Lin Yu's tone was very serious. Chapter 148. In the 100,000 years that he was trapped, he used 1,000 methods to get here and meet the Buddha Emperor. However, he was worried that the Buddha Emperor's position would change after he escaped. Hence, he sent the little monkey here to cause trouble. The Buddha Emperor could tell that the Nirvana Universe staff was extraordinary. Lin Yu also guessed the Buddha Emperor's intention. Very good. The Buddha Emperor's tone softened. Since you are not from the heaven-reflecting mirror, you can leave. Lin Yu shrugged. It was not easy for him to get here. He could not leave empty-handed. Lin Yu is here to make a deal with the Buddha Emperor. You are only at the samsara realm. Lin Yu was well aware that his cultivation level was not enough to catch the attention of these big shots. The medicine race, sword race, and wind moon race have formed an alliance. Lin Yu sounded very confident. Oh, the Buddha Emperor asked, who is so capable? Lin Yu did not say that he had also roped in the hall master, ascetic monk, at the entrance. Although his method was not proper, Lin Yu had never been a proper person. Me. Lin Yu pointed at himself. The Buddha Emperor shook his head. Even if what you said is true and the alliance of the 3 races is not bad, it is useless. He was very clear about the heaven-reflecting mirror's ability. Lin Yu also knew that the Buddha Emperor was afraid of the heaven-reflecting mirror. When Demon Lord Luo Ho obtained half of the Nirvana fruit, he was already able to exchange a few blows with the 7 Yi Demon Emperor. Although the heaven-reflecting mirror did not win against the Buddha Emperor, the Buddha Emperor was probably traumatized now. 33 years ago, the heaven-reflecting mirror asked the grave bearers to fake your decree and take away 3 million corpses. The Buddha Emperor's eyes were sharp. The atmosphere became even more awkward. This was his humiliation as the Lord of the South. Buddha Emperor, you should know where the corpse aura of the 3 million corpses came from. The Buddha Emperor's face darkened. I would like to hear your opinion. Lin Yu didn't keep them in suspense. If he wanted to achieve his goal, he had to display his abilities in front of these top figures. This was the only way to obtain an equal trade. The gravediggers are adept at refining the items of the dead. During the era of Emperor's reign, a strand of the divine will of a dead person eventually made its way to the 4-corner starfield. Go on. The origin of that divine will is extraordinary, but it is extremely weak. It has been floating in all directions for many, many years. Lin Yu looked at the sun. That was until a great war broke out in the 4-direction star region. At that time, The four masters who ruled this place wanted to use great sovereign Shumi's Tao to comprehend the law realm, so they became greedy. The atmosphere in the hall became more and more solemn. Linyu didn't care about this. This greed caused the deaths of tens of millions of people in the various galaxies. Because of this, the aura of the dead is too dense. The divine will that was about to dissipate actually recovered temporarily by relying on this aura of death. The Buddha Emperor's expression darkened. It was as if Lin Yu's every word was digging at his scars. It was reminding him of the mistakes he had made. The original body of that divine will died because he knew a secret that he shouldn't know. That is, the divine item, the heaven-reflecting mirror, is in the four-corner starfield. Lin Yu knew that in the Buddha Emperor's eyes, he was no longer an ordinary samsara realm cultivator. He continued, that strand of divine will found the heaven-reflecting mirror and wanted to use it to be reborn, but it was devoured by the heaven-reflecting mirror. At that moment, the heaven-reflecting mirror began to have consciousness. It carried the consciousness of that strand of divine will and wanted to take revenge on everything in the universe. As for the heaven-reflecting mirror, it lost 90% of its power after devouring that strand of divine will. It lurked in the four-corner starfield. Finally, 33 years ago, you discovered its existence. The Buddha Emperor was silent. This time, he wasn't angry. Instead, he sighed deeply. Unfortunately, by the time you discovered it, its ability was already not inferior to yours. Therefore, it injured you. Of course, you injured it in return. However, at the same time, the heaven-reflecting mirror began a new plan. What plan? The Buddha Emperor's thunderous voice sounded. Even he didn't know what happened after that. From his point of view, the heaven-reflecting mirror had been lurking among the 8 races and secretly controlling them. At the same time, it found the Buddha Emperor's location. Therefore, the Buddha Emperor had been hiding for the past 33 years. He had been to the Buddhist temple and the Wind Moon clan. The 8 races had never seen him again. Or perhaps, they had only seen an inconspicuous bird. However, they didn't know that it was the Emperor of the South, the real body of the 9-headed Buddha Emperor. Lin Yu knew that the Buddha Emperor had completely taken the bait. From this moment onwards, he would be in charge of their relationship. The heaven-reflecting mirror wants to become a real person. Lin Yu's voice sounded. The Buddha Emperor was furious. Wishful thinking. He flapped his wings and landed, transforming into a middle-aged monk who was as tall as Lin Yu. He stared at Lin Yu and said, I have cultivated for 1,000 years and still don't dare to call myself a human. Although he is a divine creature, he should know that the heavenly Tao has a spirit and that everything has its own rules. The Buddha Emperor sighed. If I were in the law realm now, I would immediately destroy the heaven-reflecting mirror. Of course, Lin Yu didn't want the Buddha Emperor to do that. Wouldn't he have one less interesting opponent? But the heaven-reflecting mirror has already done it. Lin Yu chuckled. The surrounding hall suddenly shook. What did you say? The Buddha Emperor's eyes widened, and his whole body glowed with golden light. Lin Yu couldn't help but remind him, Buddha Emperor, if you can't even bear this and mess up your Buddha nature, how can you defeat the heaven-reflecting mirror? Hearing this, the Buddha Emperor took a deep breath. Lin Yu also knew that the Buddha Emperor had suffered for more than 30 years and had been hiding for more than 30 years. Now, he knew that his rival's dream had come true. It was as sad as knowing that his ex-girlfriend was better off than him. I have seen the heaven-reflecting mirror transform into a person. How is his realm? Lin Yu shook his head. Unresolvable realm. But his combat power is between 50 Tao Grand Supremes. The Buddha Emperor narrowed his eyes. He has become weaker? Of course. He has to refine 3 million corpses to cultivate a perfect body. The price he has to pay is unimaginable. Plus, the heaven-reflecting mirror is the last step of transforming into a person. Lin Yu, I am ashamed to say this, but the last step of the heaven-reflecting mirror was facilitated by me. You? The Buddha Emperor's eyes widened. Did you go to the grave-carrying race? Lin Yu nodded. Not only did I go, but I almost died under the heaven-reflecting mirror's Tao light. Fortunately, I escaped quickly. Unfortunately, the Buddha Emperor should know what that thing is capable of. Imprinting the 9 realms, reflecting the appearance of all living beings. The Buddha Emperor said helplessly, "He is waiting for a perfect soul to appear, and you are the soul he thinks is perfect." The heaven-reflecting mirror only absorbed that divine will, and the divine will is not complete, so he is waiting. The Buddha Emperor sized up Linyu. It has been 1,000 years, or even longer, and the heaven-reflecting mirror has waited for you. Thinking of this, he was even more curious about Linyu. No wonder you can get the great emperor's equal to heaven's item. It seems like you also have the ability to get the divine item's approval. Chapter 149. Linyu shook his head helplessly. He was trapped for 100,000 years to cultivate his Tao heart and talent. But the heaven-reflecting mirror created a fake version of Lin Xiao. And this Lin Xiao's growth speed was faster than his. This made Linyu feel very wronged. Buddha Emperor, I am also a victim. Linyu laughed bitterly, although he was actually very excited. Benefactor, you can tell me how to cooperate. Linyu nodded and said, I will ally with the 4 races and suppress the other 4 races that rebel. At the same time, I will create an opportunity to help the Buddha Emperor defeat the heaven-reflecting mirror. The Buddha Emperor frowned. How will you help me? Linyu smiled, and 4 sacred swords flew out from his storage ring. The Buddha Emperor shook his head. The 4 sacred sword array is the inheritance array of the sword race. Unfortunately, this may not achieve the effect you want. The 4 sacred sword array obviously won't work. But what about the 4 swords 5 ultimate god killer array? The Buddha Emperor's gaze was solemn. The array of the previous Buddha Emperor has been lost for a long time. I found it, Linyu said confidently. In the 100,000 years that he was trapped, he spent close to 1,000 years to find out all the secrets of the 4 direction star regions. Of course, this included the god killer array. The Wind Moon Patriarch has agreed to lend the Wind Moon 5 ultimate. Linyu sighed softly. But this god killer array consumes too much. How could the Buddha Emperor let go of such a powerful trump card? What consumption do you need? This emperor can give it. Linyu shook his head. I'm the only one who can activate the array, but I need something special. As long as the South has it, this emperor can satisfy you. Linyu knew that the Buddha Emperor had fallen into a trap. Then Linyu will say that I want the myriad Buddha mirror. Impossible. The Buddha Emperor shook his head. How do you even know about the myriad Buddha mirror? But Linyu did not answer his question and sighed instead. I didn't expect the Buddha Emperor to be so stingy. You can't use the myriad Buddha mirror now, right? I will be able to use this once I recover. Linyu smiled disdainfully. Then, before the Buddha Emperor recovers, I hope the heaven-reflecting mirror won't destroy the southern land. At that time, all the living beings in the southern border will die because of you. I'm afraid that the Buddha Emperor's cultivation will be covered in dust for the rest of his life, unable to progress any further. For some reason, the Buddha Emperor was not intimidating at all in front of this young lad, who was only in his teens. It was as if he wasn't facing this simple-looking young man, but a demon king that had lived for 10,000 years. Even if I am willing to give you the 10,000 Buddha mirror, you may not necessarily be able to leave. I'll know once I try. Monks don't lie. The Buddha Emperor said that everything in the South can satisfy me, right? Looking into Lin Yu's deep eyes, the Buddha Emperor knew that he had no bargaining chip to continue the negotiation. Now that the survival of the southern border was at stake, the one who had the greatest chance of resolving it was this boy who possessed the god-killing array and the cohesion of the 4 races. In that case, let's go take a look. After the Buddha Emperor finished speaking, his entire body emitted a dazzling golden light. Lin Yu was bathed in the golden light, and his figure instantly disappeared. When he opened his eyes again, above the sky, 10,000 Buddhas were looking down. He was in the clouds, and beneath his feet was 1,000,000 feet in the sky. Below him, thunder rumbled like ferocious thunder dragons. Once he fell, he would be smashed to pieces by these thunder dragons. However, Lin Yu looked down and retracted his gaze. He bowed to the sky. Greetings, 10,000 Buddhas. Who are you? Voices came from all directions, as if 10,000 giant Buddhas were speaking at the same time. The moment the voices came, the clouds below seemed to become unstable, and thunder surged into the clouds. Lin Yu, here to take the 10,000 Buddha mirror. Leave. The thunder fell, and the clouds scattered. Lin Yu smiled. Seeing the thunder rushing up, he circulated the three elements in one in his body and sat down cross-legged. Leave. The thunder came again, and the clouds completely dispersed. Lin Yu had no place to stand. At the same time, tens of thousands of thunder surged up and drowned Lin Yu like an ocean. You're the one I want. Lin Yu was overjoyed. He activated his immortal will, body, and glory chi to the maximum. The nirvana fruit emitted a purifying light that cooperated with the thunder outside. In an instant, he felt an unprecedented pain in his body. Despite the pain, Lin Yu's mouth was bleeding, but his eyes were full of excitement. Outside, the Buddha Emperor's immortal will was observing, and his heart tightened. Is this boy courting death? He was about to save Lin Yu. If Lin Yu died, who could break the stalemate in the southern border? However, when the Buddha Emperor was about to take action, he saw a demonic aura burst out of Lin Yu's body. 7 Yi Demon Emperor. At this moment, above Lin Yu, a huge demonic shadow with 2 horns on its forehead was sitting cross-legged like Lin Yu. Damn it, aren't you dead? The Buddha Emperor couldn't help but curse. However, he soon realized that it wasn't the real 7 Yi Demon Emperor. It was the demonic nature. This demonic nature was absorbed by Lin Yu from the little monkey using the nirvana fruit. How did you stay calm after absorbing the 7 Yi Demon Emperor's demonic nature? The Buddha Emperor was shocked. At the same time, a terrifying suction force began to form around Lin Yu. The true sun fire burned and formed a huge black lotus. You have the Shumi Supreme's cultivation technique. Lin Yu had used all his trump cards. Even with the Buddha Emperor's state of mind, he was shocked at this moment. As the black lotus spun, the Demon Emperor's shadow began to melt. The thunder in the sky also merged with the black lotus. Lin Yu sat cross-legged in the black lotus, and his bones cracked. The Buddha Emperor finally understood that he had been fooled by this kid. He doesn't just want the million Buddha mirror. He wants to cultivate the golden body in my million Buddha hall. The Buddha Emperor now felt that his most powerful treasure was being absorbed by Lin Yu like crazy. His heart ached, but he couldn't stop it. The current Lin Yu had the power of both the Buddhist Tao and the Demon Tao. At this moment, although Lin Yu wasn't in the law realm, the space around him had formed its own laws. It wasn't something that the Buddha Emperor could stop. The entire process lasted for a total of 24 hours. When Lin Yu opened his eyes again, there was no more thunder and the Demon Emperor's shadow around him. He stood up, and golden and black light complemented each other. Behind him, a huge Dharma form rose from the ground. This Dharma form was surrounded by Buddhist light and demonic aura. It was a humanoid Dharma form that looked exactly like Lin Yu. The golden body Dharma form. He has successfully formed the golden body with his samsara cultivation. The Buddha Emperor's expression was serious. He was even more shocked than the heaven-reflecting mirror. As high as the million Buddhas. Lin Yu said slowly. As soon as he said that, the 3 essences in one realm completely erupted. Battle form, 9 ignited wheel. Spiritual, 9 ignited wheel. Glorious energy, 9 ignited wheel. Lin Yu gritted his teeth. He knew that he still had energy left, but he had to suppress it. I can't break through too quickly. It will damage my foundation. Taking a deep breath, Lin Yu finally stabilized the terrifying power in his body. But now, the Million Buddha Hall was silent. Chapter 150. The golden body was as tall as the 10,000 Buddhas. It was half ferocious and half benevolent. Its aura had already suppressed the 10,000 Buddhas. Lin Yu raised his hand, and the 10,000 Buddhas turned into golden light and gathered. The surrounding space changed again. When it reappeared, Lin Yu was already in front of the Buddha Emperor. In the main hall, what kind of golden body is that? The Buddha Emperor could not help but ask. Buddha Golden Body. Lin Yu came up with a name. The Buddha Emperor shook his head. Among the 36 golden bodies in the world, I have never heard of the Buddha Golden Body. I was just messing around. Lin Yu smiled. The Buddha Emperor's face twitched. If he believed it, he would have lived for nothing. But Lin Yu had cultivated an unprecedented golden body. What was the secret behind it? Now that I have the 10,000 Buddhas mirror, Lin Yu shall not stay any longer. Lin Yu turned to leave. Amitabha. The Buddha Emperor put his palms together. Benefactor, don't forget your promise to me. Since I've taken it, I will not go back on my words. Without this Buddha Golden Body, I will not be able to activate the 10,000 Buddhas mirror. Don't worry. With that, he left the main hall. The main hall regained its peace. The Buddha Emperor sighed. The three sovereigns' era will be over soon. Outside the main hall, the monk was still waiting. This old monk has never seen the Buddha Emperor talk to anyone, let alone talk for more than 24 hours. Benefactor Lin is indeed a young genius. Little Chun. Lin Yu coughed. Master Ku were my 4 wives. The monk looked envious. The 4 Mrs. Lin are tired of waiting. I have already arranged a place for them to stay. This old monk will bring you there now. I will go by myself. Lin Yu came to a quiet Buddhist courtyard. It was already late at night. When he opened the door and entered, the 4 fairies immediately became alert. Who is it? The first to speak was Shiyu. Your husband is back. Is this how you treat me? Lin Yu smiled faintly and pointed at the sound blade above his head. He didn't want the air blade to cut down. Otherwise, she would be seriously injured by the recoil of the golden body. Young master, did the Buddha Emperor do anything to you? When Shiyu saw that Lin Yu had returned, she ran to him excitedly. The other 3 immortals, who had been sleeping, also woke up together. They were very happy to see Lin Yu. That's not true. What can he do to me between 2 men? Lin Yu said. For some reason, the 4 immortals blushed. Shiyu doesn't understand a single word of young masters. As soon as Shiyu finished speaking, she sensed an aura from Lin Yu that made her afraid. Young master, did you break through again? She couldn't help but ask. The 3 fairies also gathered around curiously. The world revered martial arts, so a breakthrough in cultivation was naturally a top priority. Young Master's glory chi is already at the pinnacle of the samsara stage. Why is your aura so terrifying? I feel like I'm facing an ocean of glory chi in front of Young Master. It's too terrifying. Tian Xnr and Xiao Lingshan said in shock. I guess it's a bit of luck. Lin Yu said casually, but the 4 immortals looked envious. Young Master must have received some guidance from the Buddha Emperor. It's already the greatest fortune to be able to receive some guidance from the Buddha Emperor in the southern border. The Buddha Emperor is indeed the only Grand Supreme expert in the southern border. Young Master has only been there for a day, but you've already improved so much. Lin Yu listened to them and enjoyed their envious gazes. He didn't explain further. Lingshan, you don't look so good. Lin Yu suddenly saw Qiu Lingshan's pale face. Young Master, you're right. Qiu Lingshan bowed and said, I only feel that the golden hooks and silver strokes on my back are very smooth, but my body seems to be a little weak. Lin Yu obviously knew the reason. The golden hooks and silver strokes had been blocked for so many years. Now that it was suddenly opened, it would absorb a large amount of glory chi to refine Qiu Lingshan's body. Therefore, Qiu Lingshan's temporary weakness was inevitable. It's okay, I'll be fine in a few days. Lin Yu patted Qiu Lingshan's arm twice. It's late, you guys go back to sleep. With that, he turned and walked out of the Buddhist courtyard. Lin Yu was stunned. There's only one room in this shabby courtyard? The 4 immortals smiled at the same time. Shiyu said, It's okay. Young Master is a gentleman. Come in. Lin Yu felt a little uneasy. She then saw Xie helping her to sleep on her bed. "Young master, please stay here for a night. I'll sleep with Su Feng." Lin Yu nodded. The fragrance of the blanket was a little strong. He had just cultivated the golden body, and his body was full of yang qi. Now that he smelled the fragrance, Lin Yu's right hand couldn't help but itch. "It's bad for the body, forget it." Lin Yu sighed and forced himself to sleep. 2 feet away from his bed, Lin Yu's hearing was very strong. He also heard the steady breathing of the 4 fairies from the 3 beds. The moonlight shone through the window. The night in the Buddhist temple gave people a peaceful and comfortable feeling. Lin Yu fell into a deep sleep. Although he had broken through, the power of the golden body was too strong. He still needed to slow down. But not long after Lin Yu fell asleep, a gentle voice came from his ear. "Young master." Lin Yu opened his eyes. Under the moonlight, Qiu Lingshan's pure face appeared beside his bed. "What do you want?" "Young master, Qiu Lingshan immediately covered Lin Yu's mouth with her hand. "The sisters will hear." Lin Yu was stunned. Qiu Lingshan said again, "Didn't young master ask me to find you?" Lin Yu was confused. Qiu Lingshan explained, "Young master patted my shoulder twice. I thought young master wanted me to find you at the second watch." Lingshan understands. "I can't let the sisters know about the treatment process." Under the moonlight, Qiu Lingshan's eyes reflected the moonlight as she looked at Lin Yu. "Patting you twice means you have to find me at the second watch?" Lin Yu suddenly remembered that before he transmigrated to this world, there seemed to be such a scene on TV when he was young on Earth. But today he actually encountered it. "Young master, did Lingshan misunderstand?" Qiu Lingshan looked disappointed, but she really wanted to cure herself. "No." Lin Yu opened the cup. "Come up." Qiu Lingshan was afraid of being discovered by the sisters if it dragged on. She quietly climbed up. "Young master, I will endure. Don't make a sound." After saying that, Lin Yu pressed Qiu Lingshan's Huiyang acupoint with his right hand. Qiu Lingshan gritted her teeth. She still made a sound. Lin Yu held Qiu Lingshan's hand with his other hand and placed it in front of him. "Grab this. It can divert your attention." Qiu Lingshan's face turned red. Her delicate body suddenly trembled. 2 hours later, Qiu Lingshan tightly held the thing in her hand and got off the bed. She whispered in Lin Yu's ear, "Young master, you are so annoying." After saying that, she quietly returned to her bed. She even took out a handkerchief and quickly wiped Lin Yu's things off her hand. Lin Yu only closed his eyes for a while. The sky was already bright, but with Qiu Lingshan's help, the power in his body had reached the most perfect balance. He instantly felt refreshed. When he got up, he saw that the 4 immortals had already prepared breakfast. She brought a plate of steamed buns. "Young master, please forgive us. There are only these vegetarian dishes in the temple." Chapter 151. Lin Yu shrugs his shoulders. "It doesn't matter. Let's set off after eating." The 4 fairies sit down one by one. Shiyu asks, "Young master, are you going back to the Wind Moon clan?" Lin Yu nods his head and takes a bite of the bun. "No taste." Lin Yu says helplessly, "No, it's salty." Qiu Lingshan shakes her head. Shiyu and Su Feng look over. "Lingshan, this bun is obviously bland and tasteless." "That's right. Lingshan, did you eat something bad?" Qiu Lingshan blinked her eyes and takes another bite. "It's salty." Lin Yu suddenly sees Qiu Lingshan's familiar hands. Cough. "You must have not washed your hands." Hearing that, Qiu Lingshan remembers what happened last night and blushes. I'll go wash it now." Before she finishes her sentence, she has already disappeared. Shiyu sighs. This child is already a book immortal, but she is still like a child. Lin Yu smiles. She still has to have hygiene awareness. "I will talk to her when I have time." Young master is Lingshan's benefactor. Then I will have to trouble young master. Su Feng smiles. This breakfast is very interesting. 2 hours later, Lin Yu and the rest bid farewell to the Buddhist hall. Benefactor, please wait." The monk pulls Lin Yu to a remote corner. "Benefactor, this is a token of my appreciation." He passes a storage ring to Lin Yu. "Benefactor, please help me keep this old monk secret." Lin Yu smiles. "What secret? I have already forgotten it." He likes people who are so tactful. Master, you have a future. Cultivate well, and one day you will reach the Buddha Emperor's height. Amitabha. The monk is overjoyed and puts his palms together. Then this old monk will accept young master's words. Little monkey brings Nangong Lai onto the warship. Lin Yu also boards the warship under the four fairies' greetings. Young master, let's go. Lin Yu nodded, and the warship left the temple. It was originally heading towards the Wind Moon clan, but suddenly, a group of people appeared outside the temple. Young Master Lin, so you're here. Lin Yu blinked. Shiyu recognized this group of people. The leader is Elder Chun of the Sword Tribe. Young Master Lin, I've been searching for you for a long time. Elder Chun cupped his fists across the warship and said, The new Sword Venerable will be ascending the throne tomorrow. This old man is really afraid that I won't be able to make it in time to hand this invitation to young master. Idiot? Lin Yu opened the invitation and was surprised to see that Sword Fanatic was about to ascend to the throne. That's right. The new Sword Venerable has given me a death order. He wants me to personally deliver the invitation to you. This Elder Chun was the one who had previously remonstrated with the Sword Venerable and poked at Lin Yu's back, but had been reprimanded by the Sword Venerable. After that incident, he had been treated coldly by the other elders of the Sword Tribe. They all knew that he had offended Lin Yu, which meant that he could forget about staying in the Sword Tribe in the future. But when he received this mission, he knew that his chance to turn things around had come. However, Elder Chun went to the Yao Tribe and the Wind Moon Tribe, but he couldn't find Lin Yu. After a few twists and turns, he finally found out that Lin Yu was in this hall. The Sword Venerable, Lin Yu asked tentatively. Elder Chun looked sad. The Sword Venerable has already passed away. He passed away peacefully. He is also very grateful to young Master Lin for giving the Sword Tribe new hope. Lin Yu nodded. Life and death were unpredictable. Moreover, he had already expected this day to come. Now that the Sword Venerable had left, it meant that Sword Fanatic had obtained all of his power. This was indeed a new hope for the Sword Tribe. It seems that we have to change our route, Lin Yu said to the four immortals. Young Master Lin has a close relationship with the new Sword Venerable. We understand, Shiyu said obediently. Young Master Lin, do you need me to lead the way? Elder Chen asked eagerly. Lin Yu shook his head. No need. Go back and tell the new Sword Venerable that Lin Yu has arrived as promised. Elder Chun was overjoyed. Then I will go back to report the good news. Young Master Lin, have a safe journey. With that, the Sword Tribe's warship left. The Wind Moon Tribe's warship also began to change its route. Shiyu didn't understand. Young Master, why didn't you let Elder Chen go with us? Lin Yu looked around in the starry sky, and his gaze landed on Nangong Lai. Because of him. Don't kill me. Nangong Lai had been lying on the ground, pretending to be dead the entire time. His body was wrapped in iron chains, and the little monkey was riding him. Are you done pretending to be dead? Lin Yu played with Nangong Lai's storage ring. Do you know that Nangong Yin made a fake heart's blood and almost killed the Medicine Tribe's patriarch, Xiazheng? Nangong Lai's heart tightened. He recalled that when Lin Yu had just appeared, he had participated in the Wind Moon Gathering as the Medicine Tribe's helper. It has nothing to do with me. It was all my father's doing. He immediately wanted to clear his name. Unfilial son. How can you have no backbone at all? Suddenly, in front of the Wind Moon Tribe's warship, a huge ship shadow approached them at an extremely fast speed. The words Nangong were written on the ship's sail. It's Nangong Yin, she said cautiously. Her beautiful eyes were fixed on the white-haired elder standing on the Nangong warship's bow. He stepped out, and hundreds of people behind him stepped into the air at the same time. Wind Moon Immortals, you kidnapped my son. Do you want to leave just like that? As soon as Nangong Yin finished speaking, he stepped onto the Wind Moon Tribe's deck. His gaze stopped on Lin Yu. You were Lin Yu? The atmosphere was tense. Fourth Fairy's beautiful eyes were alert. This time, the Nangong tribe had almost turned out in full force to stop them. It was dangerous. Lin Yu nodded and pointed at Nangong Lai. You are this fool's father? Puffed. Fourth Fairy couldn't help but laugh out loud. Young Master, Don't joke at such a crucial time. Su Feng scolded. They were facing a formidable enemy now. But how could Lin Yu still be so reckless? You Lin Yu, you are indeed as arrogant as the rumors say. Nangong Yin almost vomited blood. I know you have the Wind Moon tribe and Sword tribe behind you, but you dared to touch my son. How should you be punished? With that, he ordered, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and untie the young master. Yes, just as the Nangong tribe members got close to Nangong Lai, they flew out and fell to the ground with blood spurting out. Little Monkey was still riding on Nangong Lai. Invincible stage, demonic beast. Nangong Yan's eyes widened. He had heard of this demonic beast when Nangong Qin and the rest returned to the tribe. But now that he saw it with his own eyes, he couldn't help but be shocked. The aura of the invincible stage of 7 Yin was too strong. What do you want to let my son go? Lin Yu smiled. I am a reasonable person. Your son owes me money. How can I let him go? Nangong Yin said angrily, my Nangong tribe is the wealthiest tribe among the 8 tribes. We have countless treasures. Does my son need to owe you money? Countless treasures? A bloody piece of paper flew out from Lin Yu's storage ring. The words, I owe you, were written on the top. Nangong Yan's eyes widened as he stared at the handprint on the IOU. The aura of the bloody handprint couldn't be wrong. 1. Unfilial son 5. 1. Father, save me 3. Nangong Lai is struggling. 1. Lin Yu forced me to sign 5. Nangong Yin saw the amount on the IOU and his hands trembled unconsciously. 10 billion. Chapter 152. How can my son owe you so much glory bait? Nangong Yin was in disbelief as he pointed at Lin Yu. Lin Yu, are you trying to scam my Nangong clan? Lin Yu shrugged. Nangong clan leader, don't spout nonsense. Nangong Lai is clearly written in black and white. Do you still need me to say more? Nangong Yan's face darkened. What if I don't give it to you? Of course you don't have to. Lin Yu smiled. That's your money. I'm a very reasonable person. He pointed at the words below the IOU. If you don't return it within 3 days, die. Only then did Nangong Yin see the additional terms clearly. He knew that Nangong Lai had left a blood imprint on it. Even if he brought Nangong Lai back and forcefully tore the IOU, the blood imprint and the IOU were already connected to his bloodline. It was like a ticking time bomb. Other than satisfying the glory bait on the IOU, there was no other way. Clan leader, what should we do? The people behind Nangong Yin asked in a low voice. Now they couldn't snatch it, but they could not snatch it either. Is there anyone who can break the bloodline connection on the IOU? Nangong Yin turned around and asked the others in the Nangong clan. Everyone gathered around. Seeing this, Lin Yu couldn't be bothered with them. Young master, will they go back on their words? Jiu asked worriedly. Lin Yu shrugged. If they don't, I'll kill them. He didn't care. Don't. When Nangong Lai heard this, he was so frightened that he shouted, Father, if you don't give me the glory bait, Lin Yu will kill them. Get lost. Nangong Yin said angrily, and the others dispersed. His expression was ugly. Of the hundreds of people he brought, none of them could break the bloodline connection on Lin Yu's IOU. Only Lin Yu knew that it was actually the blood sacrificial heart that had been used to deal with Elder Xian Yu and Demon Master Luo Ho back then. With this blood sacrifice heart refinement integrated into the IOU, Nangong Lai would either die or give him the glory bait. Lin Yu, 10 billion glory bot is indeed a little too much. Lin Yu shook his head. Patriarch Nangong, don't underestimate yourself. You have at least 8 billion in your storage ring. How did you know? Nangong Yin subconsciously grabbed his storage ring. Lin Yu's eyes were shining with greed. I guessed. Lin Yu was too lazy to explain. Should he tell Nangong Yin that he had stolen something from Nangong Yin during the 100,000 years that he had been trapped? Lin Yu suddenly thought of something and approached Nangong Yin. There are some things that are not easy to do with a storage ring. Do you understand? Nangong Yan's eyes widened. Did that bitch Ying tell you? He remembered that he would only take off his storage ring when he was having fun with Ying, although he didn't know why Lin Yu saw the glory bot in his storage ring. However, this matter was definitely related to that be asterisk TCH. Patriarch Nangong, you have too many romantic debts. I can't say who betrayed you. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Nangong Yin cursed in his heart, but he had already thought of 4 or 5 women's names. Damn it, who is it? Enough, the time I gave you is up. Give it to me. Lin Yu hooked his finger. Nangong Yin snorted coldly. Although I, Nangong Yin, am over 80 years old, my body is still strong. I will have more sons in the future. Today, I will let you 4 immortals and Lin Yu be buried together. With that, all the Nangong clan members behind him were ready to attack. Young master, be careful. Shi Yu and the other 2 immortals came to Lin Yu's left and right. They didn't expect Nangong Yin to suddenly flip out. The other party said angrily, I will give you 10 breaths of time to remove the bloodline connection on the IOU. Otherwise, even if you have an invincible realm beast, I will use the power of the entire clan to destroy your Wind Moon clan. Father, don't give up on me. Nangong Lai shouted. Shut up. In an instant, the atmosphere was tense. Everyone's gaze fell on Lin Yu, especially the hundreds of experts from the Nangong clan. They all stared at Lin Yu as if they wanted to eat him. But Lin Yu raised his hands and clapped twice. You are about to die, and you are still clapping? Nangong Yan's heart tightened. He couldn't see what Lin Yu was thinking. Lin Yu took 2 steps forward and said in a low voice, Nangong Yin, you have overdone it. How are you going to end this? What do you mean? Nangong Yin had a bad feeling. Lin Yu smiled meaningfully. You can still have a son. Are you sure? Lin Yu. Nangong Yin instantly lowered his voice, afraid that others would hear. What nonsense are you talking about? Lin Yu sighed helplessly. Old man, you won't give up until you reach the Yellow River? Nangong Yin frowned. What does the Yellow River mean? Lin Yu was stunned. He forgot that it was the river in his hometown. No one here knew about it. Forget it, Nangong Yin. You have played with so many women these years, and you suffered a backlash when you were cultivating the 8 desolate sun dragon formation. Lin Yu stared at Nangong Yan's enlarged eyes. I don't need to say more about the rest, right? You, which woman do you have a relationship with? Why do you know about my private matters? Nangong Yin originally came to find Lin Yu to settle the score. Plus, he was worried that the Buddhist Hall would make a move, so he directly brought the strongest battle force of the Nangong clan. It was to snatch back Nangong Lai and kill Lin Yu. But the current situation wasn't right. All right, this is your only son. Whether you want or not, it's up to you, Nangong Yin. Lin Yu warned again. Nangong Yin stared at him and gritted his teeth. You have guts. Take it. With that, 8 billion dazzling baht was transferred to Lin Yu from his storage ring. Patriarch, the people of the Nangong clan were shocked again. Wasn't he going to risk his life with Lin Yu just now? Why did Nangong Yin compromise in the blink of an eye after a few words? If you're satisfied, you can untie it. Nangong Yan's face was ashen, his heart aching. Lin Yu smiled faintly. You still lack 2 billion? You, Nangong Yin said angrily. I don't have any more. Lin Yu glanced at the people behind him. Why do you think I kidnapped your son in front of so many people? Lin Yu smiled. Nangong Yan's eyes widened. You purposely made my Nangong clan lose face and lured me here. You're not stupid. I'm just afraid that you won't have enough money if you come along. Call for help. With that, Lin Yu hooked his finger. The IOU left the hands of the Nangong clan and flew into his hands. What a good Lin Yu. I've finally seen it today. Nangong Yin said angrily. He turned around and ordered, all of you, take out all the dazzling bot. Patriarch, we don't have any dazzling bot. If you continue to talk nonsense, are you trying to kill my son? Nangong Yin threw out a palm. His invincible realm cultivation exploded. The middle-aged man who resisted was sent flying and spat out a mouthful of blood. If you want to die, you don't have to take it. An hour later, the dazzling bot was piled up like a mountain and kept by Lin Yu into his storage ring. Young master, you're rich. Shi Yu and the other immortals' eyes lit up. Chapter 153. This was too shocking. The Nangong clan came to find trouble with them because of Lin Yu. Before the battle even started, The Nangong clan had already paid 10 billion Yao baht. Not a single cent less. Lin Yu nodded with satisfaction. All right, take him away. With that, little monkey threw the Nangong lie back. The blood connection on the IOU? As soon as Nangong Yin finished speaking, the IOU was already burning. Lin Yu, are you so confident that I, Nangong Yin, will not kill you after burning the IOU? Lin Yu was fearless, as little monkey had already jumped onto his shoulder. If you want to kill me, you can come at any time. Lin Yu raised his eyebrows. Very good. Nangong Yin narrowed his eyes and looked at the entire Wind Moon warship. I hope your Wind Moon clan will not regret it. The four immortals looked at each other. Nangong Yin stepped into the air and laughed wildly. When Celestial Dark Shio appears, none of you will be able to escape. Everything that my Nangong clan lost today, I will make you pay back 10 times. With that, the Nangong clan warship left. Just as Lin Yu said, Nangong Yin did not dare to make a move again. Young master. The four immortals breathed a sigh of relief, but their faces were a little uneasy. Who is Celestial Dark Shio that Nangong Yin mentioned? Lin Yu smiled gently, a fun guy. Shi was puzzled. Nangong Yin seems to think that Celestial Dark Shio will do something to the 8 clans. Lin Yu nodded. This day will come sooner or later. He looked at a certain direction in the starry sky and felt a strong sense of crisis. Perhaps it is already here. The four immortals were stunned and looked over at the same time. They saw a black-robed figure in the darkness of the starry sky. At first glance, the figure was still dozens of feet away, but in the next moment, he had already appeared behind the 5 of them. So fast, the four immortals felt a sense of crisis and used the Wind Moon 4 absolutes at the same time. You, who are you? Shiyu asked warily. Under the black robe, the white-haired youth raised his head. This is the same as young master. No, his hair is different from his pupils. He has vertical pupils. Tian Shiner and Su Feng said at the same time. Lin Yu smiled. Go to the cabin. Young master. Qiu Lingshan looked over and whispered. Young master. This person is very strong. Lin Yu nodded. Yes, he's very strong, so you guys are no match for him. Go in. Hearing this, the four immortals could only enter the cabin. Little monkey, you go in too. Lin Yu stroked the little monkey's head. Ka. The little monkey called out to Lin Xiu and hid in the cabin obediently. Only Lin Xiu and Lin Yu were left on the deck as they looked at each other. The former smiled. Are you afraid that they will die in my hands? Lin Yu shook his head and said, I don't care about life and death anymore, but I don't like the feeling of my hands being stained with blood. Lin Xiu laughed maniacally, and in an instant, the entire warship shook. In the cabin, the four immortals felt a sharp pain in their heads and immediately covered their ears. Only the little monkey could still peek at Lin Yu and Qiu Lingshan normally. Do you see my strength? Lin Xiu stared at Lin Yu and approached him step by step. Lin Yu nodded and said sincerely, You are indeed stronger than the last time. He was actually very surprised. This opponent's growth speed was too terrifying. That voice just now was so powerful that even the Buddha Emperor might not be able to reach it. But Lin Xiu stared at Lin Yu with some vigilance. You're stronger too? He sensed that Lin Yu had a power that made him wary. So, you are still not my match. Lin Yu chuckled. Impossible. Lin Xiu's voice spread out like a wave of air exploding from the warship. The nebula rolled back and the deck shattered. Lin Yu stood with his hands behind his back and didn't even look at him. I understand. Lin Xiu stepped into the air. I will catch up to you sooner or later. With that said, a human-sized silver mirror suddenly appeared in front of Lin Xiu. Lin Yu narrowed his eyes. Lin Xiu was indeed the original body of the divine object, the heaven reflection mirror. Lin Xiu walked into the heaven reflection mirror. This was the second time he disappeared from Lin Yu's eyes in the starry sky. After Lin Xiu left, Lin Yu couldn't help but exhale. The four fairies walked out, all of them trembling, obviously still in shock. Even Yao Gu and Nangong Yin didn't give them such a strong sense of crisis. But that young man still made their minds tingle. Young master, who is he? She couldn't help but ask. Lin Yu looked at the starry sky. If he hadn't cultivated the golden body, he would have been exposed in an instant just now. Whether it was the last time he relied on the nirvana fruit and the great void 8 parts to resolve Lin Xiao's ice energy, or the golden body this time, he was sure that he wasn't that guy's doing. He is the one Nangong Yin mentioned, Heaven Emperor Xiao, Lin Xiao. Heaven Emperor Xiao. It was the first time the 4 fairies heard this name, but they didn't expect to see the real person in less than a cup of tea after hearing this name. Shi frowned and said, "Young master, will he be a threat to our 8 clans?" Lin Yu nodded. "Of course, and this day will come soon." Lin Xiao's growth was too fast. Lin Yu judged that he was now comparable to the Buddha Emperor. The war in the southern border was about to break out. Lin Yu didn't hesitate anymore and headed to the sword race on the Wind Moon warship. "There's still a night's journey to the sword race. You guys go and sleep first," Lin Yu instructed. The 4 fairies nodded. Although they didn't really fight today, they were mentally exhausted. Whether it was the Nangong clan or Heaven Emperor Xiao, their strength was not something they could fight against. At night, Lin Yu returned to his room and heard a knock on the door. He opened it and saw that it was Qiu Lingshan. "Young master, I'm here to treat the illness." Lin Yu looked at the little girl's blushing face and smiled. The weakness from the golden hook's silver stroke should have disappeared. "You don't look like you're here to treat the illness, right?" Hearing Lin Yu's words, Qiu Lingshan looked away and didn't dare to look at Lin Yu. "Young master, Lingshan is indebted to you. The patriarch once said that the Wind Moon clan can't owe anyone a favor." Lin Yu smiled. He was now in alliance with the Wind Moon clan, so Fenggu would naturally tell the 4 fairies. Because of this relationship, even if Lin Yu helped the Wind Moon clan, it wasn't to the extent that he had to repay the favor. "Do you want to take last night's matter further?" Lin Yu teased. During the 100,000 years that he had been trapped here, he had also tasted this girl. However, now that Lin Yu was free, he didn't want to have too many emotional attachments. "No, it's not that." Qiu Lingshan immediately shook her head. Then, she lowered her voice. "But if it's to the extent yesterday, Lingshan can still repay young master." Lin Yu smiled. At this moment, Shi Yu's voice came from outside the door. Qiu Lingshan immediately looked flustered. Lin Yu couldn't help but come up with a bad idea. "Hide in here." With that, he pulled Qiu Lingshan to hide under the table in front of him. "Come in." Chapter 154. When Xiu opened the door and came in, she felt a tyrannical aura around Lin Yu, which immediately suppressed the perception of her divine sense. "Is young master cultivating?" Lin Yu nodded. He grabbed Qiu Lingshan's hand under the table and pulled it over. Qiu Lingshan trembled. She thought that if she didn't hide, her sister would misunderstand. But now that she was under the table, if she was discovered, wouldn't it be even more difficult to explain? "Young master, not now." Qiu Lingshan shouted in her heart, but she couldn't resist at all. She allowed Lin Yu to bully her hand. She was outside and felt that Lin Yu was acting strange at this time. "Young master, why do you keep looking under the table?" As soon as these words were spoken, it terrified Qiu Lingshan to the point her jade hands trembled even more violently. "It feels good." Lin Yu chuckled. He met Shi Yu's surprised eyes. "Oh, I mean the feeling of cultivating is good." She was impressed. Young master's cultivation is indeed amazing. At the Wind Moon gathering, young master's combat strength wasn't as powerful as it is now. But in just a few days, young master can actually be on par with Celestial Lord Xiu. Lin Yu chuckled. "Does Fairy Qin have something else to say?" Shi Yu nodded. "Before we left, clan leader instructed Shi Yu that she would stay in the Wind Moon clan to comprehend the way to break through to the unbreakable realm. So Shi Yu guessed that clan leader is still in the Wind Moon clan and can attend the New Sword Venerable's coronation ceremony." Shi Yu frowned. Lin Yu's hands were under the table, but her divine perception was suppressed. She couldn't understand what Lin Yu was doing. "Young master, what's wrong?" "Ticklish," Lin Yu answered casually. He felt Qiu Lingshan's hair in his hand and couldn't help but press it down. "Young master, what nonsense are you talking about?" Who knew that at this moment, Xie would also rebuke him. The Patriarch knows that young Master Lin has a close relationship with the new Sword Sovereign, so I hope that young Master Lin can forgive the Patriarch for not being able to attend the ceremony. It's fine. Sword Fanatic won't mind. Lin Yu replied. She felt that Lin Yu was acting very strangely. She cupped her fists and said, then she will take her leave first. Under the table, Qiu Lingshan was speechless, but she finally let out a sigh of relief. Who knew that Lin Yu still wanted more? Help me call Su Feng over. She was stunned at the door. Okay. In the following 4 hours, Lin Yu took turns chatting with the 3 immortals. The next day, Su Feng stood on the deck and said, we are about to reach the sword race. Tian Xian nodded. All right, young master was acting weird yesterday. I think so too. She also got up. All right, what did young master say to you? Su Feng ran her fingers through her hair. He asked me if the food in the temple was good. She was speechless. What kind of question was that? What about you, Xna? Tian Xian blinked. Young master asked me to play chess. She sighed in relief. That's normal. But, Tian Xian said again. But young master didn't use his hands to play chess. His hands were always under the table, and he used his mind to control the chess pieces. She was even more confused. What happened to young master's hands? At this moment, Qiu Lingshan walked out. Lingshan, come here. Qiu immediately stopped her. Qiu Lingshan's heart tightened as she bowed to greet the 3 immortals. Lingshan, did young master ask you about something yesterday? Qiu Lingshan was shocked and immediately shook her head. That's strange. Young Master Lin asked the 3 of us one after another yesterday, and he said some very strange things. Su Feng was surprised. Suddenly, she looked at Qiu Lingshan. Lingshan, why aren't you saying anything? Qiu Lingshan waved her hand and pointed at her throat. Sore throat. Su Feng was stunned. Could it be that you were injured by Celestial the Arch-Xiu yesterday? Qiu Lingshan had a flash of inspiration and nodded her head. Celestial the Arch-Xiu is too powerful. Our Wind Moon clan has always been known to gather information, but we have never heard of him before. We have to get the clan leader to prepare as soon as possible. Otherwise, Celestial the Arch-Xiu alone is enough to destroy our Wind Moon clan. The clan leader probably expected this day to come, so he formed an alliance with young Master Lin. With young Master Lin's power, you all saw it yesterday. Even Celestial the Arch-Xiu couldn't do anything to him. The 3 immortals were discussing enthusiastically. Qiu Lingshan wanted to say something, but her throat was too sore, so she couldn't say anything. When Lin Yu came out and stretched, he greeted the 4 immortals, especially when his gaze fell on Qiu Lingshan. Fairy Shu, why aren't you saying anything today? Qiu Lingshan's heart tightened, and her cheeks began to blush. She tried to smooth things over. Lingshan was injured by Celestial the Arch-Xiu yesterday. It seems that her throat was injured. Lin Yu couldn't help but laugh, but he soon said seriously, I know a little about medicine. Let me take a look at you in the room later. Qiu Lingshan's beautiful eyes widened. Young master is here again, so soon? But soon, Su Feng sighed and smiled. Young master, we don't have enough time. We are close to the Sword Tribe's territory. Lin Yu nodded and took out a few herbs. Under the refinement of the true sun fire, they turned into pure medicinal power and entered Fairy Shu's throat. Much better. Thank you, young master. Qiu Lingshan said softly, but she didn't dare to speak too loudly. Young master is so powerful. She couldn't help but praise. Look. But at this moment, Tian Xian saw a few huge demonic beasts outside the Sword Tribe. Those are transcendent realm demonic beasts. There are a total of 30 of them. This, Tian Xian, and Qiu Lingshan said at the same time. Su Feng felt that something was amiss. Young master, should we observe for a while? The corners of Lin Yu's mouth curled up. No need. They're heading for the sword race. It's a good opportunity to hitch a ride. The 4 immortals were puzzled. Suddenly, the space in front of the warship began to distort. A beam of formation light suddenly enveloped the Gale Moon warship. We meet again? Within the array formation, a huge warship burst out and directly collided with Lin Yu's warship. Nangong Yen, Shi Yu, and the others widened their eyes. Is the Nangong clan here to ambush us again? Little Monkey stood at the forefront of the deck. He held the Annihilation Universe staff tightly in his hand and glared at the Nangong clan's warship. He was only waiting for Lin Yu's order. Nangong clan leader, are you here to intercept me or to participate in the ascension ceremony? Nangong Yin sneered. Intercepting you is one of the reasons. The most important reason is to destroy the Sword Tribe. With just you? Lin Yu sneered. Nangong Yin recalled that he suffered a loss in Lin Yu's hands yesterday and snorted. Today, it's not just my Nangong clan. As expected, just as Nangong Yin finished speaking, the roars of transcendent realm demonic beasts resounded from all directions of the Gale Moon clan's warship. Father, that brat is Lin Yu. On a transcendent realm, snake-tailed, snake-snapping turtle, Beihan Feng stared at Lin Yu with hatred. Chapter 155. The middle-aged man next to Beihan Feng was draped in dragon skin. He said sternly, "All right, don't even think about leaving today." He was the current clan leader of the Imperial Beast race, Bei Qingtsong. If you can't take down Lin Yu today, wait to be skinned like this stupid dragon. As soon as Bei Qingtsong finished speaking, the 30 beasts around the warship roared even louder. In an instant, the Breeze Moon warship was surrounded by the two clans. You're about to die. Lin Yu, what else do you have to say? Nangong Yin looked at Lin Yu as if he was looking at a dead man. In his eyes, the most threatening thing to Lin Yu's group was the invincible 7 stage beast. But 2 fists were no match for 4 hands. As long as the 30 beasts and the Imperial Beast race held back the ape for a while, Nangong Yin was confident that he could take down Lin Yu, who was at the Samsara realm and the Wind and Moon Immortals. There's nothing to say. Lin Yu shrugged. But you won't kill me now, right? Nangong Yin narrowed his eyes. I have to say, you're the smartest person I've ever seen in my life. Lin Yu didn't care about the praise of such a person. Then do you still want to resist? Nangong Yin asked again. His words were law. A few arrays covered the sky and earth. Together with the beasts, the Breeze Moon warship was sandwiched in the middle. Clan leader Nangong, please calm down. Lin Yu shook his head helplessly. How about this? I surrender. Bring me to threaten the new Sword Venerable. Looking at Lin Yu, he opened his arms. The 4 fairies were stunned. This isn't young master's style. Young master must have a reason for doing this. Su Feng and Shi Yu asked in their hearts. Nangong Yin smiled coldly. It's best if you don't resist. Men, tie him up. With that, dozens of people brought hundreds of chains and tied Lin Yu up tightly, including the 4 fairies and the little monkey. They didn't resist Lin Yu's order. So smooth? Beihan Feng sensed that something was amiss and came over to greet Nangong Yin. Senior Nangong, is this Lin Yu plotting something? Nangong Yin sneered. What conspiracy? I spent hundreds of millions of glory bought to create this black iron divine chain. Even an invincible realm expert can only surrender after being bound by it. How can Lin Yu, a Samsara realm expert, resist? When Beihan Feng heard this, he frowned and said, but this Lin Yu is the master of that great beast. In theory, he should have resisted. Nangong Yin was somewhat displeased. What is a junior like you know? Lin Yu is not as stupid as you think. Of course, he knows that even with the help of the great demons, he can't defeat the combined forces of our 2 races. That's why he pretended to surrender. In fact, he's going to seek help from the Sword Venerable. Beihan Feng's heart tightened. Are we still going to bring Lin Yu to the sword race? Of course. Nangong Yin smiled. Does he think that the Sword Venerable can save him? Idiot. You juniors always think that you're smart. Without the old Sword Venerable, the new Sword Venerable's foundation and cultivation are unstable. The current sword race is at its weakest. After Nangong Yin finished speaking, Beihan Feng looked at Lin Yu, who was chatting with the 4th fairy, and was still somewhat worried. He's still so arrogant after being captured. There must be something wrong with him. He's just pretending to be calm. Bei Ching Song flew over. Brother Yin, long time no see. Nangong Yin smiled. The cultivation celestial the arch has successfully come out of seclusion. Today is the best opportunity to swallow the other 4 races. Greed appeared in Bei Ching Song's eyes. When the time comes, I hope that Brother Yin can leave some spoils for me. Nangong Yin pointed at Lin Yu and said, "We can split the rest equally, but this kid belongs to my Nangong clan. I want him to be cut into pieces." Nangong Yin only said half of what he wanted. The other half was naturally the storage ring on Lin Yu's body. That was 10 billion glory bot. However, Nangong Yin didn't know that the amount of glory bot Lin Yu had collected during this period was much more than he imagined. Sure, Bei Ching Song's gaze landed on the little monkey. How about the unresolvable realm beast belonged to me? Nangong Yin nodded. What interest did he have in monkeys? He looked at the wind and moon fairies. My son is obsessed with the 4 of you. He's still lying in my Nangong clan. Let these 4 bitches serve my son. The women can be given to Brother Yin, but I heard that the wind and moon fairies can also control beasts. Give them to me. Bei Ching Song narrowed his eyes, knowing that Nangong Yin was favored by the cultivation celestial arch, so he didn't argue. Nangong Yin listened. Deal. In a few breaths' time, Lin Yu and the others listened as the 2 leaders of the 8 races divided up their spoils. Shameless people, Shi Yu said angrily. Zither Fairy, serving the Nangong Lai is better than your little brother being cut into pieces. Lin Yu saw that the 4 fairies were afraid, so he tried to ease the atmosphere. She rolled her eyes at him, still not understanding why Lin Yu was willing to be captured. Rather than being humiliated by the Nangong Lai, I'd rather die. Xiao Lingshan gritted her teeth. Lin Yu blinked and whispered in Xiao Lingshan's ear, "What about being humiliated by me?" Xiao Lingshan and Lin Yu were very close to each other. She blushed and immediately turned away, whispering, "Young master, please don't joke. With you, Lingshan is willing." Lin Yu smiled, knowing that the little girl had fallen in love with him. He was suddenly in a dilemma. If he wanted to trick the Wind and Moon clan in the future, wouldn't he have to give Xiao Lingshan some face? "Young master, this chain is so hard." Xiao Lingshan changed the topic. Lin Yu nodded. Those below the Grand Supreme Realm can't break free. Of course, there are some special methods. Xiao Lingshan's eyes lit up. "Young master, do you have a way? If I knew Nangong Yin would use this chain, I wouldn't be willing to be captured by him if I didn't have a way." Before Lin Yu finished speaking, he heard the sound of the warship moving. At this moment in the Sword Tribe, the 2 floating swords were cleaned up. Although it wasn't Sword Fanatic's palace, she still hoped that this place would regain its former glory. Sword Fanatic stood with her hands behind her back, emitting a powerful sword aura. Behind her, Elder Chen couldn't help but gulp nervously. The new Sword Sovereign was even more intimidating than the old Sword Sovereign. Sword Fanatic's forehead was wrapped with a white cloth as she muttered to herself. "Grandfather, you arranged for me to ascend the throne today, but I wanted to mourn for you for a few more years." Hearing that, Elder Chen's eyes turned, and he immediately bowed. "Sword Supreme, now that the 8 clans are in turmoil, the old Sword Supreme also hopes that you can ascend the throne immediately. After all, the 8 clans might think that the Sword Tribe has an opportunity because of the old Sword Supreme's passing." Sword Fanatic nodded. "Elder Chen, will young master really come?" Elder Chen smiled. "I've done my best to visit the Wind and Moon clan, Buddha Hall, Yao clan, and finally found young Master Lin. He also agreed to come." Sword Fanatic was still a little nervous, but she knew that Lin Yu would definitely do what he promised. There are already thousands of guests outside the Sword Tribe. The Wind and Moon Immortals and young Master Lin haven't arrived yet, but the other 8 clans and the 100 sects of the South are all here. Sword Fanatic nodded. Stepping out of the Sword Supreme's mourning hall, it was a brand new atmosphere in the Sword Tribe. Chapter 156. She looked down and saw thousands of people from the Sword Tribe below the stairs. "Greetings, Sword Master." Their voices were loud, as if they represented the glory of the sword tribe for thousands of years. Sword Fanatic looked at the sword in the sky. That was the place where she used to live. There, she had fulfilled Jianling Tian's unfulfilled wish. Sword Master, should we start the ascension ceremony? Elder Qin asked. Wait for the young master. Elder Qin nodded and recalled that he had impeached Lin Yu. He was courting death. Sword Fanatic suddenly frowned and looked up at the sky. Two huge warships were descending from the sky. It's the Imperial Beast Tribe and the Nangong Tribe. Elder Qin smiled. Suddenly, his expression changed. Sword Master, young Master Lin is on the Nangong Tribe's warship. However, Sword Fanatic had already disappeared from the spot. When she reappeared, she was still in midair. Nangong Yin, came personally to congratulate the new Sword Master on ascending to the position of clan leader. On the Nangong Tribe's warship, Nangong Yin smiled coldly. His loud voice could be heard from below. However, Sword Fanatic's expression was extremely gloomy. She saw that Lin Yu was tied up by layers of chains. Let go of the young master. Sword Fanatic's cold voice could be heard. The warship landed on the ground. At the same time, 30 transcendent realm demonic beasts descended from the sky and surrounded the sword tribe. What's going on? It's the Imperial Beast Tribe. On the other warship, Bei Qingtsong and Bei Hanfeng looked at each other and smiled. Bei Qingtsong of the Imperial Beast Tribe is here to congratulate the new sword master. After the voice was heard, everyone felt uneasy. How does this look like they're here to congratulate? It looks like a war. Look, other than the Imperial Beast Tribe, the Nangong Tribe has at least 600 people. And they're all experts. Within the Sword Tribe, the 13 elders were gathered together. Elder Chun, what should we do now? Elder Chun said angrily. The words that the old sword master left behind before his death were true. Elder Chun, what did the old sword master leave behind? Elder Chun did not say much. He only passed down the order to the 3,000 disciples. Form the 4 sages' sword formation. Yes. The Beast Tamer clan and the Nangong clan arrived outside the Sword Clan city gate and crushed the stone gate that had been used to verify the bloodline. Nangong Yin smiled helplessly. Sorry. The moment I arrived, I destroyed your city gate. But this sword race city gate is way too unruly. Bei Qingtsong sneered and said, I think the sword tribe is doing the same as this city gate. I heard that the new sword sovereign was Lin Yu's maid in the past. I wonder if she's from the sword tribe? Nangong Yin stepped through the air, and the warship followed, directly attacking the sword race. Even Lin Yu was captured by us, let alone this maidservant. I don't know where Lin Yu found her, but she actually managed to deceive that old and dim-sighted sword sovereign. Bei Qingtsong also commanded the demonic beasts to surround the sword tribe. Elder Chan appeared beside Sword Maniac and said angrily to the 2 clans, Today is the day of the inauguration of the new sword venerable of the sword tribe. What do you 2 clan leaders want? Didn't I say I'm here to congratulate you? The corner of Nangong Yan's mouth curled up. Destroy the sword tribe while you're at it. Presumptuous. Elder Chun was enraged. The sword tribe is one of the 8 clans just like you. You can't just destroy it as you wish. At the crucial moment, he wasn't careless at all. Try it then. Bei Qingtsong stepped through the air, and his hand formed claw. Instantly, cold air condensed around Elder Chun. Elder Chin's expression changed drastically. He unleashed his transcendent realm cultivation, but he couldn't stop the cold air. Invincible realm expert, Elder Chun gritted his teeth and almost vomited blood. A sword light slashed across, and the cold ice shattered. Elder Chun, step back. Sword Maniac walked out slowly, and Elder Chun said worriedly, Lord Sword Sovereign, Bei Qingtsong is an invincible realm expert. It's fine, Sword Maniac said coldly, and her gaze landed on Lin Yu. Young master, wait for me. She took a step forward. Although she was still a few feet away from Bei Qingtsong, she instantly appeared in front of him. Stupid girl, the sword sovereign gave you all his cultivation. Bei Qingtsong's old eyes were filled with shock. Ever since Sword Maniac used her finger as a sword to break his invincible cold ice, He was extremely shocked. Bei Qing-song raised his hands and stepped back. The cold ice behind him turned into wings, and he distanced himself from Sword Maniac. This new Sword Sovereign can actually scare Bei Qing-song away. While everyone was still in shock, Sword Maniac raised her right hand and pointed her finger. In an instant, a huge sword aura formed in the air and shot towards Bei Qing-song. Snapping turtle, Bei Qing-song roared. In the sky, a huge snapping turtle came crashing down and blocked Bei Qing-song's path. The sword aura hit the turtle shell, and a deafening sound was heard. The snapping turtle screamed in agony and directly smashed into the ground. Damn it, this sword aura is even sharper than the Sword Sovereign. Bei Qing-song had a bad feeling. He originally thought that the new Sword Sovereign was just a junior, but he didn't expect her to be able to withstand the Sword Sovereign's cultivation. She was even stronger. He couldn't even defeat the Sword Sovereign back then. How could he defeat Sword Maniac? Let go of the young master or die. As Sword Maniac's voice fell, Nangong Yin attacked at the same time. In Nangong Yan's warship, the 600 experts began to form a formation and blocked in front of Sword Maniac. A huge formation was supported by them, and it appeared behind Nangong Yin. Even the Sword Sovereign is no match for my 8 Desolation Sun Dragon formation. Nangong Yin formed a seal with both hands, and a dragon's roar came from the formation. So powerful, everyone was shocked. They saw 8 fire dragons roaring out from the formation. Nangong Yan's aura spread out, and layers of ice condensed on the fire dragons' bodies. Ice and fire in one. 8 Desolation Sun Dragon formation. Sword Maniac felt a life and death crisis. She raised her right hand, and the Crimson Moon sword appeared in her hand. At the same time, Elder Chun roared, "Lord Sword Sovereign, the 4 Sacred Sword formation is ready." Sword Maniac nodded. She used the Crimson Moon sword to replace the Black Tortoise sword, and the 4 Sacred Black Tortoise sword technique was displayed. This was her forcefully using her invincible cultivation to make up for the gap between the Crimson Moon sword and the Black Tortoise sword. At this moment, a huge black tortoise illusion appeared above Sword Maniac. Dragon head, tortoise body, snake tail. With the appearance of the black tortoise, a huge formation suddenly soared into the sky from all directions of the sword race. Sword Maniac pointed her Crimson Moon sword to the sky. Above the sky, tens of millions of sword chi were charging in Nangong Yan's direction. This is the sword race's clan protection formation. Nangong Yan's old eyes were aghast. Where did this girl come from? Damn it. The 8 Desolation Sun Dragon formation flew up and collided with the 4 Sacred Sword formation. Rumble. The entire sky exploded. Sword chi, flames, and ice rolled down. Nangong Yin and the 600 experts behind him spat out a mouthful of blood at the same time. At this moment, the Crimson Moon sword in Sword Maniac's hand could not withstand the backlash of the 4 Sacred Sword formation and broke. Good chance. Bei Qing-song moved and instantly appeared above Sword Maniac's head, flying dragon heaven destroying palm. Chapter 157. A huge palm force suddenly fell. Sword Fanatic changed with the broken sword, and the 4 sages' sword art condensed again. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The sword aura and palm energy gathered together, and the explosion sounded again. The others didn't dare to move at all. This kind of battle between indomitable realm experts was too terrifying. Bei Qing-song spat out a mouthful of blood. 3rd realm of swordsmanship. However, Sword Fanatic wasn't in a good state either. The Crimson Moon sword was completely shattered, and not even the sword hilt was left. Sword Fanatic took a few steps back and spat out a mouthful of blood. The new Sword Lord fought against 2 indomitable realm experts consecutively. It's too much. On the Nangong clan's warship, Shi said worriedly. To be able to fight against the 8 Desolation Sun Dragon formation and Bei Qing-song alone, This new sword lord is enough to shock the 8 clans. Su Feng couldn't help but praise sword fanatic strength. It's about time. Lin Yu looked around, and no one cared about them anymore. As his words fell, the true sun fire burned in his body, and the horrifying temperature suddenly rose. The black iron on his body began to transform and melt in a few moments. Finally, with a clang, it all broke. Lin Yu waved his hand casually, and the chains on the 4 fairies and little monkey broke at the same time. This chain can't be broken from the inside, but it's easy to break from the outside. After Lin Yu finished speaking, the 4 fairies were about to help Sword Fanatic. Lin Yu ordered, "Return to the Wind Moon clan to help Feng Ge, and then bring people here." "Young master, did something happen to the Wind Moon clan too?" The 4 fairies' expression changed. Lin Yu frowned and guessed. The Southern Wilderness and the Gravediggers have yet to make a move. Since the Nangong clan and the Imperial Beast clan have made a move, you should return to the Wind Moon clan, just in case. The 4 fairies listened, and they believed in Lin Yu's judgment. Oh no, Lin Yu ran out. Only then did the Nangong clan members react. However, just as they were about to attack Lin Yu, Little Monkey's Annihilation Universe staff had already been swung. Bang, bang, bang. The Transcendent Realm experts were directly crushed. Returned directly to the warship. After Lin Yu finished giving his orders, he suddenly turned around. In the Invincible Realm battle, Sword Maniac spat out another mouthful of blood. This was because Nangong Yan's 8-directional Sun Dragon formation was once again formed, but Sword Fanatic's sword was broken. 8 fire dragons pierced through the air. Sword Fanatic raised her jade-like hand. An unyielding realm, Yao Qi formed a thick ice wall. Rumble. The fire dragon slammed into the ice wall. Sword Fanatic gritted his teeth, but the ice wall was not broken. "You're finished." All of a sudden, Bei Qing Tsang appeared behind Sword Fanatic. His 5 fingers formed a palm, and the heaven-destroying palm came crashing down. "Young master, I'm sorry." Sword Fanatic's figure was engulfed by the palm force as easily as crushing dry weeds. But all of a sudden, a familiar hand grabbed her waist, and with a flash of light under her feet, she instantly disappeared under the palm force. What? When the heaven-destroying palm landed, it directly smashed out an enormous ice crater on the ground. However, Bei Qing Tsang had a bad feeling about this. He looked up into the sky and saw Lin Yu, who was wearing a pair of flying immortal shoes that were glowing with flowing light, hugging Sword Fanatic. "Young master, you've done well." Lin Yu smiled and looked down. "Bei Qing Tsang, the game has begun. You're only at the Samsara realm." Nangong Yin roared at the same time, and the fire dragon roared. Lin Yu's storage ring flashed, and 4 sword auras shot into the sky. 4 sacred swords. Everyone from the Sword Tribe was overjoyed. While Sword Fanatic was fighting, the Beast Tamer tribe's Fey Beasts had already attacked the Sword Tribe. Lin Yu smiled. "I'll show you the true power of the 4 sacred swords formation." The 4 sacred swords fused into the sword formation in the sky. Suddenly, the sword formation that was about to dissipate suddenly reformed, and a gigantic sword blade appeared in the sword formation. "What's that?" Nangong Yan's heart tightened. He felt a chill down his spine when he saw the gigantic sword that covered the sky. But after the sword blade, there was the sword body and the sword hilt. The entire world was instantly enveloped by sword aura. Retreat, retreat. Nangong Yin did not need to fight to know that he could not withstand it. He would die. "Young master, you are still the most powerful." Sword Fanatic clasped Lin Yu's fingers tightly, and their sword auras seemed to intertwine. Sword Fanatic felt an unprecedented pleasure in her mind. Lin Yu smiled faintly. No one knows that the Sword Tribe was created by a couple of thousand years ago. The 2 of them used 2 swords, and their combined sword technique is the 4 sacred swords formation. Sword Fanatic's eyes flashed. With Lin Yu around, everything was different. She gritted her teeth and allowed Lin Yu's sword aura to travel through every part of her body. At the same time, she soared into the sky and fused into the 4 sacred swords formation. This is the four sacred yin-yang sword formation. The corners of Lin Yu's mouth curled up. In the sky, the second giant sword was following closely behind. Damn it, he's crazy. Nangong Yin felt that not only was he being showered with dog food, but he was also going to die here. He suddenly recalled Lin Yu's surrender. He had purposely come to the Sword Tribe to perform this terrifying sword formation with Sword Fanatic. Boom! The sword aura fell, and the 8 fire dragons were crushed to the ground and shattered. The 600 Nangong clan members spat out blood at the same time. However, what awaited them was the destruction of the yin-yang swords. Rumble. Nangong Yan's words could no longer be heard. Retreat. Bei Qingsong's expression changed drastically. Who would have thought that the Nangong clan would be killed in an instant, even after using all their strength? However, the yin-yang swords changed direction in the next moment. Bei Qingsong shouted hoarsely, "Winged tiger, red centipede, come here." Bayon Feng was so frightened that his legs trembled. Bei Qingsong had already been swallowed by the sword aura. Sword Fanatic grunted in acknowledgement. "Young master, I can't take it anymore." Lin Yu nodded. He was also reaching his limit. The fusion of the sword aura dissipated, and the yin-yang swords also dissipated in the air. However, the ground was in a mess. The 600 Nangong clan transcendent realm experts, including Nangong Yin and the imperial beast tribes Bei Qingsong, as well as countless demonic beasts, were all turned into corpses by the yin-yang swords. "Men, capture the rest of them. Elder Chun, you've commanded us well." Lin Yu smiled faintly. Elder Chun bowed shyly. "Thank you, young Master Lin, for saving the Sword Tribe." Lin Yu sighed softly. However, the real game has just begun. As soon as he finished speaking, the clouds in the sky seemed to have been opened. A huge skull that was half the size of the sky broke through the sky and descended. What's that? Damn it. I'm only here to participate in the ascension ceremony." The skull's deterrence was even greater than the descent of the 2 clans previously. In particular, around the skull were countless chains that connected to an even larger sarcophagus. Elder Chun was horrified. He hid behind Lin Yu and Sword Fanatic. "Lord Sword Honorable, young Master Lin, that's the grave bearers." Everyone saw countless shirtless men under the stone coffin. Their bodies were painted with different patterns, and they were carrying the stone coffin over. The skull let out a horrified voice. "Xiu Tiandi is here to take charge of the Sword Tribe." Chapter 158. His voice shook everyone's minds. Celestial Emperor Xiu. Who is Celestial Emperor Xiu? He actually made the gravediggers come for him? Sword Maniac frowned. Little Monkey also came to Lin Yu's side. Elder Chun, set up the sword formation again. Sword Maniac ordered, but Lin Yu shook his head. "No need. The 4 sacred sword formation can't deal with him." Sword Maniac felt that the situation was not good. "Young master, what should we do?" There were still beads of sweat on her forehead. It was obvious that she had used up a lot of energy. "Wait." Lin Yu smiled helplessly. "Does young master have any reinforcements?" Sword Maniac did not understand. "If not, what should we do?" Lin Yu asked. Sword Maniac shook her head. "I don't know. Even so, I will stay by young master's side." Lin Yu could not help but laugh and took a step forward. "Come out." With that said, everyone saw the stone coffin tremble and slowly open. A huge silver mirror flew out of the stone coffin. "What is that?" But while they were still in shock, the mirror rippled like water, and a figure that looked exactly like Lin Yu appeared. This time, Lin Xiu did not wear a black robe. His white hair danced in the wind, and his vertical pupils looked down on the ground as an oppressive aura pressed down. "Submit." Lin Xiu spoke, and the power of the Supreme swept out, causing everyone on the ground to kneel down. "Damn it, he's so strong." This is Celestial Emperor Xiu." Seeing everyone prostrate on the ground, Sword Maniac's entire body trembled. 13th Elder could not hold on either and knelt down on the ground. Young master, why? Sword Maniac was stunned. He had used his invincible realm cultivation to the limit, but had reached his limit. Lin Yu supported him. At the same time, the Buddha's golden body rose from the ground like a giant between heaven and earth, protecting Lin Yu, the sword fanatic, and the little monkey. Lin Xiao's eyes were filled with excitement. This is your trump card? Inside the Buddha, golden body. You want to ask why he looks like me? Yes, I don't understand. Lin Yu smiled. It's because he's the sky reflection mirror. The sky reflection mirror absorbed the divine, while left by the fiend emperor, my talents, and the 3 million corpses in the southern world to refine his body. The demon emperor's divine will, my talent, and the 10,000 corpses battle body. This is what it means to be a celestial emperor. Sword Fanatic felt his throat dry up, and he couldn't speak. Young Master's talent is the most powerful I have ever seen. Coupled with the Demon Emperor's divine sense, do we still have a chance of winning? If it weren't for Lin Yu's golden body, the 3 of them would have collapsed already. Lin Xiao looked down, and the voices of the people carrying the tomb echoed in unison. Long live the Emperor! Long live the Emperor! Long live the Emperor! Long live the Emperor! As soon as his voice rang out, the entire area trembled. The people under the pressure also chose to submit at this moment. The skull once again spoke in a sinister voice. Those who obey the will prosper, and those who defy the will die. Grand Supreme Realm, cultivating Celestial Emperor, is an expert on the same level as the 3 sovereigns. Hearing the skull's words, the people of the southern border below also knelt down in unison. Long live the Emperor! Long live the Emperor! The voice rang out again. Sword Fanatic frowned. This is the power of the strong being respected. But right at this moment, the sky above the sword race suddenly changed again. Amitabha! The Buddhist voice echoed in all directions. The monk and thousands of experts from the Buddhist hall stepped on the air and landed. But everyone's eyes fell on the back of the Buddhist hall's lineup. It was a 9-headed bird that spread its wings and covered the sky. The Buddha Emperor is here. You might as well kneel. The monk spoke, and his invincible cultivation spread out, but it was much weaker than Lin Xiao's. The people below were shocked. The Buddha Emperor is here. The real Emperor is here. But why do I still feel that Celestial Emperor Xiao is stronger? The Buddha Emperor stood in the sky and stared at Lin Yu. Sure enough, he was exactly the same as Lin Yu. Sky Reflection Mirror. This Emperor is here to take revenge for 33 years ago. The corners of Lin Xiao's mouth curled up, and his face was overflowing with evil charm. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. With hatred in your heart, how can you become a Buddha? His voice came out, and with one step, he actually appeared above the Buddha Emperor and stomped down. Unorthodox. The Buddha Emperor roared, and his giant wings formed a storm. The power of the Grand Supreme stirred the sky, and the space around Lin Xiao instantly shattered and collapsed. The battle of the Grand Supreme Realm in the sky was triggered, and the people from the Buddhist hall also began to fight with the gravediggers. In an instant, the sword race became an Azura battlefield. Little Monkey, go and break that skull. Lin Yu ordered. Little Monkey had endured for a long time and disappeared in an instant and appeared above the skull. Young Master, I will go and help too. Lin Yu nodded. Sword Fanatic was now the strongest combat power in the sword race, and she had to shoulder her responsibility. Lin Yu looked up at the sky. Seems like the southern wilderness has gone to attack the Wind-Moon race. I wonder if rumor has broken through to the unyielding realm. I asked the Yao race to pay attention to the changes in the 8 races. I hope that the Yao race has already reached the Wind-Moon race to support them. The 4th fairy was shocked. Young Master already guessed that this day would come. I think not only did he guess it, but he even calculated the time. Tian Xian, and Su Feng were shocked. Lin Yu kept the 4 sacred swords. If the Wind-Moon 5 absolutes can return here in time, I will win this battle. As expected, the Buddha Emperor's voice spread out in all directions. Lin Yu, Didn't you tell this emperor that he was only at the unyielding realm? Lin Yu shrugged helplessly. He knew that the Buddha Emperor could not hold on and was beginning to retreat. He broke through. Lin Yu said. He looked at the Buddha Emperor coldly. Today, the Buddha is 1 foot tall. The devil is 10 feet tall. The moment he spoke, the power of the Grand Supreme was unleashed and directly hit the Buddha Emperor's 9-headed bird true body. How dare you? The Buddha Emperor was enraged. He took a step forward and raised his hands in front of him. Buddha light shone brightly, and a huge golden Buddha Emperor appeared behind him. But Lin Xiu also formed seals with both hands, and the sky reflection mirror appeared behind him. It expanded by thousands of times and covered half the sky. You actually used the sky reflection mirror as your golden body. The Buddha Emperor squinted his eyes. The moment the sky reflection mirror appeared, he sensed that the surrounding storm had increased. The golden body behind him actually started to tremble at this moment. The Buddha Emperor sensed that something was wrong and slowly put his palms together. At the same time, his golden body also raised its palms, and a huge swastika appeared in front of the golden body. The golden body's palm landed and fused with the swastika, suppressing Lin Xiu. Everyone on the ground felt a shocking pressure coming down from the sky. Is this the power of the Buddha Emperor? Damn it, the sky is about to split open. As expected, the Sword Tribe's sky shattered layer by layer. The Buddha's palm let out a roar, and even the 2 stone swords in the sky started to tremble. But Lin Xiu smirked and disappeared into the sky reflection mirror. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.